Hello, people! What's up?
Hello, squishes!
Look, we need to excuse us reading ahead, and here's what happened. Literally, I just was reading, and then I was like, I was supposed to read to 208. That's how in my brain, I was supposed to read till 208. And then today, my mom called and was like, hey, I accidentally read to 208, and I was like, I did too! I didn't realize until she said that.
But the 6 looked like an 8 in my brain, and my brain was like, you should check again.
We both got new mic. I definitely knew going in that it was 206. I like quadruple checked, and then then I started and was like 208. Because I kept telling myself it's gonna be 18 chapters.
Are you ready? It is chapter 191.
Okay.
Chapter 191.
Oh, that's what I just clicked. That's funny.
I might be lying to you. Do you want to know?
No, it's 191.
I didn't like 206. It was a dumb spot.
Okay. Yeah.
So I decided, F that. I didn't actually. I just really thought I was supposed to reach 208.
Oh, the supernova was the cliffhanger we were supposed to end on? I just genuinely didn't notice. I just rolled. I just somehow in the moment, I felt like I am positive I am supposed to read till 208. Thank you for subscribing.
I was going to thank KPC.
Well, then, you know, they get good.
Thank you for subscribing, KPC. What stream updates? Why is Dr. Jack talking about stream updates?
I don't know. What is... Oh, we need to announce, otherwise people won't show up. That's a good point.
He's not wrong. You can't just go out there. Yeah. You're very bad at that. Did I tell you? You're very bad at that.
I almost always remember.
No, you don't. Oh, I hate that new sound. You know what? Discord, 2 things. Number 1, I hate the new sound. Number 2, why'd you name yourself Discord, which is the opposite of Harmony?
For style points, because they're really big. So they're really big My Little Pony fans.
No, bad.
That's why. Look, you wanted the truth. That's the truth.
Thank you, Brother Onion.
They were huge fans of My Little Pony, and because of that, they named their app Discord.
Lie.
I remember more than 40% of the time to do stream updates. Give me more than
40% that. Feels about fair. 40% feels about on brand.
Language being top 5, I feel like is fair, but I feel like it'd be number 5 for me. Like, don't get me wrong, this section was great, but I wouldn't put it as like my favorite section of Undead Unluck, which doesn't mean it's bad at all. It's fantastic. It's just like, have you seen the competition out there? Have you seen what it's looking like in the leaderboards? Have you paid attention?
To the leaderboards?
To the leaderboards of Undead Unluck arcs. We should definitely do an arc tier list when we're done.
Hells yeah.
Maybe even top 3. You think top 3? No. Oh, this was what a lot of people called peak. I loved it. Don't get me wrong. Language was great. I loved language, but like...
Hello, Haberfats.
Oh, this is tough. Would I put it above spring? I don't think so. Oh, fuck. Should we get into it? Should we go? We launch?
Did you want me to tell you what page you need?
I already did. I already started. We're good. You said it. I'm doing it.
Do you want me to make strange noises into my mic?
What?
Yeah, just like random strange noises. Let me know if you need them.
Hey guys, I have an announcement today. I have an important announcement today that is so important that everyone pays attention to. So important that everybody knows. I am going to go corkboard crazy today. Today is a corkboard and a half of an episode.
Yeah, both of us have some ideas. And then when we talked earlier, we were like, blah, blah, blah. And then Drawk went side questing. I've gone side in an opposite direction. Did you see the text I sent you?
Probably not.
Wait, what? Are you serious right now?
Like oh yeah, the text? Yes, I did. I did see that text. I thought you meant right now. Yeah, of course I did, yeah.
Did you see the Mesopotamian mythology?
I did.
With Gilgamesh?
We got old buddy Gilgo in there.
Yeah, dude.
Gilgo
I'm feeling it. I'm feeling this Mesopotamia Gilgamesh bullshit
I'm telling
up in
you,
the house.
I'm feeling my Abrahamic religion bullshit. I'm gonna come at it. Should we just
How about we both do that? I was reading something that somebody said, and they were like,
yeah.
And they were like, you know what I like? I like it when people have chats about their things. Too many people just talk about the same shit together. You know what, though, Drawk? You should give them a tiny, tiny, quick update, no more than 2 minutes, just enough time to say, I don't know, let me get my Halloween treats, and then about Austin, and then we start.
No. I'm doing a full travel vlog. If anyone wants to know what happened for my birthday in Austin, I went to Austin for my birthday because Austin 6th Street is a giant pub crawl, and I love Halloween, and I've always wanted to do it. So I went to Austin, Texas for my 30th birthday and pub crawled in costume as Blackbeard with my wife as Big Mom. It was great. I'm gonna be on Tuesday designing a bat-based critter for my game with my wife doing a travel vlog. So that's on Tuesday. I'm saving Austin talk for Tuesday. It's gonna be great. Oh, she already left. She didn't hear that. Well, pretend I gave you guys an update, I guess. Be there Tuesday. It's gonna be fun. I'm so excited to talk about it all. So much happened, but I don't love repeating myself that much. So I'm just gonna save stuff. Thank you for cheering bits though, regular guy, even if you're coming at me. Okay. I need to buy time for moment. Guys, today we have an announcement. And when we get to the plugs, we're gonna announce our next manga project. I'm excited. I'm thrilled. We're all stoked-sided about it.
We are not stoked-sided.
We're stoked-sided about our next project, and we'll announce that in the plug. All right, should we get started? Should we get rolling?
Let's get going. Hey, Dr. Jack, that was really sweet. Aw, look at that. This is Dr. Jack's 12-month anniversary.
It's the 1-year anniversary. Dr. Jack, thank you.
Dr. Jack, you truly are one of the originals.
The original G's, the original gangsters.
The original J's, Ovs.
Yeah. All right, should we get into it?
Here we go. I'm ready to rock and or roll, maybe even both.
Okay. Hear us out. We're starting with Juice. We need to go squeeze the juice. The Juice is here. She's a famous fencer. She reads fan mail.
You know what's really weird about her?
What's up?
Everything.
You find Juice weird?
No, her in this round is really strange.
Miss Julia?
There's a couple of things I'm really enjoying. I'm enjoying that it's giving Fuuko a moment to like really get to bond with her when she's little, which is pretty cool because she has so much respect for her. Mm-hmm. And it's letting us see a version of juiz as Julia that is unfucking hinged. Like this chick was like, so a whole ass building fell around them, and rather than being like, oh shit, there could be dead people in there, she was like, okay, so now do we all want to admit that I'm just awesome? Was that the bad luck? That's all I'm going to talk about. I'm just going to ask you if that was the bad luck. Yeah, motherfucker. An entire building falling to pieces is bad luck.
So I want to mention, like, I said in our pregame call today that I love that we get to see what Juice was like without untold millennia of wisdom and experience. And it makes so much sense with how she acted. Like that this unhinged gremlin monster is what she is like at base, like at neutral, without ages of experience.
Yeah, because we met her for the first time when she's like straight out been, hey, they're sitting straight out been on the earth so many goddamn times that
because like the first time she looped, she started in the fucking dinosaur era. So like she has millions of years of life experience at the point that we meet her. So getting to see what she's like as a fucking just teenager is wild, and I loved it.
I'm not gonna lie. Pre-game call makes it sound like you guys get slightly drunk together before the stream. Brother, that's the most hilarious thing. You win funny comment to the day.
I feel like we wouldn't do. Look, we're not gonna do that. It's just Mama will get high sometimes by accident.
Drinking is bad.
Drink.
Second of all, there's no need for that. Third of all,
hinges are off already.
I'm a teacher. I wouldn't ever use marijuana or alcohol.
For sure. Yeah. Teachers don't ever do those things. No teacher has done that because they're all paragons of virtue.
Just that sweet, sweet pipe, just like KP says.
Yeah, of course.
Sweet, sweet pipe. Okay.
So,
also, there was a couple of other things that I thought were weird. Like, why is she reading everyone's goddamn piece of mail? That's a lot.
She likes her fans. Well,
She's just
like a world-class fencer, right? So it makes sense that she doesn't have apparently Oda reads all of his fan letters and he's fucking Oda.
There's no way.
Yeah.
I read all mine, but my fans don't send me letters.
Apparently Oda pays for a giant storage unit to keep them all in because he doesn't like the idea of throwing out something sent with such sincerity.
Are you shitting my bacon?
Yeah.
He
that's
needs to be told about a really cool idea where after you read a letter, he should recycle it because I bet he has so much and that would restore the world's paper crisis. But also, if you burn a letter, there's an idea in 2 cultures that I know of that it returns the words and the good meaning.
Well, in a lot of cultures, it also means disrespect, a sign of disrespect, and burning, like explicitly meant to be a disdain. So who knows?
Well, he should get a new culture, one that likes to burn.
Jeez, okay. Look, I think
just do a switchy.
I think Baby Juice is great. I think she's wonderful, doing a good job out here.
She's fine, but she's very unhinged.
Incredibly unhinged. Big fan.
Her costumes are meh. And her whole what?
All she's worn so far is like a school uniform, which she's the British aristocracy. She's not allowed to have drip. She's only allowed to have fucking poise and elegance or whatever they care about.
That's like me.
Sure. Yeah.
Poise and elegance.
You are the British aristocracy. Understood.
I didn't want to tell you. I know how you feel about being aristocracy.
At least her teeth look normal. Let's move on. Let's not make jokes about Britain. They're already doing that to themselves, guys.
Ding. Okay. I'm in chapter 190. You can join along.
Okay.
Could you make this one look a lot like him? Because I need another realistic picture to put on a thing.
What? I mean, I'll do my best, man. I'll do what I can.
I have a thing I want to have a background on.
I'll do what's up. I'm working on it.
Hello, odd user. Oh, whoa! Don't get snippy, Drawk.
As a Brit, I see that as a win. I mean, look, that is where your guys' standards are at this point. So I don't blame you.
When you get to choose how to take yourself down, you're doing well.
Yeah.
That's a privilege.
I'm sorry. Y'all's a nation whose progressive party said that a children's book author would be able to be like a minister of gender care just to get her support. The culture's not at its strongest moment.
Okay, I'm going into this because...
Let's go into this.
You're getting weird.
Here's what I've realized. If I want you to get started, I can't say let's get started. It'll have no effect. I need to go off book. That's the only way to get you to drag the show along.
The problem is that you go so fucking off book.
Because until I do, you won't start.
I am so sweary today. I'm sorry, Squishies. You're meeting Mama Drawk on a sweary day. Good luck, editors! Woohoo!
It's just like, yeah, this is the only problem for the editors. It is 2 charcoal.
The kids in my class are going to start watching this and be like, I couldn't help but notice that you said a lot of very sweary things.
Well, you said before that the personality you bring to the show is how you would act as like a university teacher, where you're allowed to swear a little bit more, but you still need to act professional.
I would. And today, not so much.
Look, sometimes university teachers allowed to have that.
Okay.
You're
Thank
allowed
you.
a day every once in a while. I'm
allowed a super sweary day. Buckle in, kiddies. Today is a mega swear.
All right, should we go?
Here we go.
The editors would.
Yeah, when I talk about her unhingedness, there's one thing where she gets nearly eaten.
Yeah.
And that made me think, like, first you let the building fall on you, then you're like, tell me all the information I want, or I'm gonna let myself get eaten. So we're not talking about like one little bit of unhingedness. And it's almost pouty, like I'll let myself get eaten. So we're definitely seeing her as a child, but she was so poised, and then she meets Fuuko, and she has this like reversion where she's like, not anymore.
I did love it. I love the childlike, over-the-top, eager, reckless personality. It definitely seems like the type of person, foreshadowing for the future, who would defy God and eat an apple, but...
Oh, shut up.
Tell me I'm wrong.
I'm not saying you're not wrong. I'm just saying don't bring that in so early.
Look, it's called planting the seed. It's a narrative device.
Oh, is it? Yeah. Is it a narrative device for stupid audiences? Because we have a smart audience.
I mean, look, smart audiences love foreshadowing. See how often people bring it up in the One Piece Reddit.
They like it to be... They like to have foreshadow that doesn't bluntly beat them in the head.
Here's the difference between how Sean was bratty and how Juiz is being bratty. It's entirely energy. It's entirely like, I love arrogance. I love arrogance in a character, but arrogance, vibes. Yeah, look, arrogance in a character is something I love, but arrogance and brattiness together, bad combo. That's like, I like milk and I like Coca-Cola, but I'm not going to drink them together. You give me arrogant guy, I'm into it. You give me bratty guy, I'm into it. Arrogant and bratty, I don't like them together. It's a bad taste combo.
Okay. Can I just put a little lemon in your sauce?
I mean, sure.
You're the one who brought things up. I'm just putting a little lemon in your sauce.
That's just a way to put something. Took me off guard.
Okay. Milk and Coca-Cola is actually a drink. It's called a brown cow, and lots of people drink it.
Well, guess what? They're fucking crazy. Maybe they like arrogant brats too.
It's not a little bit of a drink. It's like globally, this is a thing people do.
Well, then maybe those people like an arrogant brat, but I don't.
So it's a vibe check then, is what you're saying.
Hear me out. I love Fire Emblem Hilda, bratty. I love Fire Emblem Edelgard, arrogant. But I don't like Fire Emblem, what's his face? The guy with the dumb hair. Lawrence, who's, no. Yeah, no, he's kind of bratty. Bratty and arrogant, bad combo. I love the arrogant side of Ferdinand, but if he was a brat, I wouldn't like him. I will say, though, Lawrence has the #1 glow up in that game. Lawrence, #1 glow up. No one gets more handsome points pre to post time skip. Anyways, bratty, arrogant, bad combo. That's why I'm still not on Sean's side, but I am on Juiz's side.
All right. I'll allow that. Hey, all the people in the world who drink Pepsi and Coke and milk, Drawk doesn't mean to be a jerk. I understand that this is a real thing.
Look, I'm not saying it can't be a real thing. I'm saying I don't like it.
Yeah, well, you've never had it, so you don't know. This is like when you rate movies before you go to them.
Oh, okay, but
that's your dad's favorite thing that you do. That movie sucks. Have you seen it? No, but I can tell.
Look, I think you don't have to be arrogant to be a brat. I think you can be bratty by just being like, no, I'll get my way. If you mix no, I'll get my way with I should get my way because I'm awesome, fuck you, actually.
I'm not going to lie to you. Bringing a little arrogance into it, that arrogance with your brattiness is a way of building your own confidence. I mean, look at look at what's his pickle later on.
Fang?
Hey,
Fang,
thank you for knowing my brain.
Yeah, Fang, weirdly enough, kind of bratty arrogance in this chapter. Maybe he just pulls it off better.
And you were into it. Admit it.
I didn't. He's not my favorite. It is my favorite I've ever had from Fang. It is the best Fang has had. And you know what I think why I think that is because while he's being a brat, he's being the kind of brat who's like constantly doing the things he's saying he won't do, which is always a trope I like.
I like him doing the things that he said he won't do. I'm not going to lie.
I love the trope of being like, I won't do that while you're actively doing it. I love that. Good job,
When
Fang.
he flies away, he's like, I'm not going to do that. I'm leaving, but I'll quickly teach this person. She's like, okay, can you also do this person? He's like, fine. And this one, stop adding. And she keeps adding. And I'm like, look, I'm here for that. Do you want to go in order or do you want to go chaos?
Well, what do we need to talk about for Juice before we can move on, if we're doing an order?
We did it. She's arrogant. She joins. She keeps having... I like that Juice keeps having memories of her own self in her dreams because no one else was like, I'm attached to old me's.
Yeah, I
just
wonder
her,
about
like
that being like a result of the arc.
Exactly. And because she's existed for so long that it's almost like all timelines have a deep echo of her.
Yeah, it's so confusing. I'm interested.
And I was
doesn't have Unjustice yet. That's true. She doesn't have Unjustice yet. Maybe we'll see that in the future. I also love her being like, put me in, coach. And Fuuko's like, you literally don't have a power. And this is like the ultimate dude. No, fuck off. Oh my God. You know what I just realized? Doesn't Juice kind of have Scrappy Doo energy now?
Oh my God. Did you just compare Juice to Scrappy Doo?
A little bit.
Fuck, but it works.
Yeah, it's like a Scrappy Doo I don't hate, but like it's a little bit of a Scrappy Doo energy.
Hey. I loved Scrappy Doo. I'm one of the people who, when Scrappy Doo was introduced and everyone was like, this dog sucks, I was like, everyone shut the shit up. Yeah, I love this. I gotta find somewhere out there beneath the pale moonlight. I was sent something from Roxanne. Was it Roxanne or am I making that up?
Would I know?
Yeah, it's been in the world. We've been talking about it for a decade.
Is it your hat?
No.
I don't remember who sends things. I'm so bad at names and everything.
Oh, Roxanne sent it to me.
Okay, good.
It's here. She said, at Mama Drawk here, but I don't click to see the sticker. Oh my God, adorable. Roxanne made a sticker where Fuuko is holding, spazzing out Julie.
That's adorable.
And dragging her away. It's adorable.
So do we go to talk about Top now that we have little baby Scrappy Doo?
I'm so pleased with you.
I almost made a real mistake there.
Yeah, you really did.
Well, no. Do you know what my mistake was? Do you know what almost happened?
I feel like you almost said the thing.
Well, so I got a portmanteau-seeking brain, right?
Yes.
And one might notice that there is a similar vowel sound in Julia and Scrappy Doo that could encourage one, if they weren't thinking, to replace the first consonant sound of Doo with the first consonant sound of Julia. And I maybe almost called her that, and I'm really glad I caught it.
You know what? You caught that well. Good for you. I'm very proud. Yeah.
I'm real glad that the filter got that one, that the old brain colander caught that one before we put it out the plant.
I am too.
Yeah, for anyone who didn't put together what I said, I did almost just call her Scrappy Jew, which is not... It's not a good nickname for a character ever.
It's not. And now you said it, so you're grown.
I did, because I wasn't clear enough that people in chat weren't getting it. I had to be clear about what was almost done.
Listen.
Yeah.
Now you're grounded.
Okay, but it actually does sound like a name that a cool like Jewish boxer
Don't
would
make
give
the rules,
himself.
Drawk. I just enforced them. You're grounded. Okay, let's go.
I mean, luckily I'm in my room right now.
Perfect. Stay there. You're not allowed out of that room for 3 hours.
Cool. I think I can handle this. What's he going?
I can't believe you guys didn't pick up on it right away, other than you, man. And you made Drawk say the quiet part, which should have stayed quiet.
I just didn't want to leave that many people. Scrappy Dulia is better. I'm going to say Scrappy
Okay,
Dulia.
Scrappy Dulia is excellent. Can we move on, or do I need to say something inappropriate?
We can move on.
Excellent. Okay. So one of my very favorite plot points is I'm about to decide on the master rules, blah, 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 blah. I need a minimum of 2. However, God is hoping for more. And then they open it for 3 minutes. I think we just need to talk about how every single one of the little bastards chose to go and who should come out of the sky but Undead. Hello, Undead. For this
love how
moment
pissed they are at this bastard.
Oh, every single time you positively sicken me. I love the idea of thinking about how many times this dude has had to come down that they don't even know it's taking place. All of the stuff that, because we think about all of the stuff that's going on above ground with our fuuko, everything she's having to take care of. All the freaking, like, if you think about the fact that she's such an excellent swords person, that she could beat, Julia could not beat her despite being this like phenom.
They did point out specifically that it didn't look like her skills were what was doing it. It was just how strong and fast she was.
But regardless, she had to do some sword play in order to get to the point.
She has to know some stuff and then is applying her strength and speed from martial arts into swordsmanship.
Precisely. And so when you think about all the different things she had to learn, the money she had to create, the people she had to find, all of the layering of learning to be a doctor, just everything. Yeah. And then you're like, do you have any idea how much this person has had to accomplish in a relatively short time? Because if you think about how little time,
but it's not crazy.
Not nuts. It's like 2 long ass lifetimes, and that's really not that much to do how much she's done.
And you're like, half of it was spent on surgery training.
Exactly. And then she could do other things in the meantime as well, but yes. And then you're like, and what are you doing, Undead? And he's like, oh, do you want to see? A, I'm on the big old sun here hanging out. And B, here's why. And then the bitch drops down inside onto their table. And they're like, haha, we're going to do all these things. Vortex bullets, step aside. Mm-hmm. And they start doing, oh my God, I'm so sweary. Did I just call him the bitch?
I don't know, man. Probably.
All right. And he pops down onto the table and immediately leaks out these freaking soul chains, grabbing up all the people. And they're like, oh me, oh my, when did these get here? And you're just like, God damn, man. Like the thing, and to find out that he has been doing this every 3 months. Dude has been coming down here when they go to release the big bad baddies. And then not only is he down here doing this, but they all think they win against him. And then right at the end, Soul is like, shit, you let them go.
Yeah, so that your dudes can take them out one at a time.
Yeah, where he goes, you planned on letting those 2 go from the start because of their lower ranks. And then he's like, what a drag. Is this because of that whole trust thing you guys are big on? And it's so amazing to see that he's not only going down there and keeping them safe. He comes in full of cock and balls. Dude, this is what happens when you're super sweary. You make a new temperature for the squishies.
But like literally he does. But also, first of all, I do love Change being like, I'm sick of looking at your dick. This sucks. Like, I find that was
amazing.
That's funny.
That was amazing.
That's immediately funny.
Because also it's Change. So Change saying I'm sick of something, like, let's change this up. I was like, love that right away. And then when they were like, I'm sick of looking at your dick, I was like, that's amazing.
Change is one of my favorite Uma so far. I think she's been great every moment. Every moment of Change has been hilarious. But also,
Change can eat my armpit.
One of my favorite things in media is when our good guys get to be the fucking get to have boss music, when they feel like the bad guy terrifying the scrappy underdog villains.
Yeah.
Like it felt like boss music. It felt like there was the fucking Dark Souls chanting, oh, as he like descends from the sky to kick the shit out of all these dudes.
I won't Rafe's revenge. I won't do it. Eat my armpit, Change.
I'm a big fan. I like Change. I love her design. I like what a fucking dick she is. She's great. Doing the Uma job well.
I like Change eating my armpit. Yeah. So when he's standing there, you finally say to yourself, like, okay, you know what? You've got to just give it in. Like, Fuuko is doing shit. Fuuko is working hard for the money. Oh, great. Now I'm going to have that song in my head. But it's not like Andy is out here slouching around. Like, just think about what the world would have been like if he hadn't been popping down every 3 months with his wiggles waggling and taking care of business. And they hadn't seen this soul chain thing yet. So he has been learning and growing. And having Fuuko come and see him and touch him, I think, is a reigniting of his soul that has allowed him to kind of level up like Gear 2, the same as everybody else. Because they literally said they'd never seen this before, and he had been fighting them, and suddenly he was able to fight them off that much harder and choose who got to go up.
I want to point something out that I've realized here. We have just had it proven that soul-to-soul communication exists, right?
Yeah.
Fuuko needs to somehow come to understand and love the love Sun, right? Love Soul.
And Andy is a part of it.
Andy has been testing his soul adjacent to Soul for billions of years. Andy has deeply spiritually communicated with Saul, most likely, and is going to be the vessel by which we come to know him through Fuuko.
I think that she'll be able to love Soul because of Andy being attached to it and having that connection 100%.
Oh my God, and Andy being attached to, connecting, and representing Soul and coming with his, being reborn with his apocalypse ties into what I'll talk about later so much. Holy fuck. Dude, I'm corking tonight.
All right, but we've got so many corks to cork. There's a lot of bottles
only so much cork we can cork.
There's only so many corks you can cork. Okay, so that was the first thing that I thought was just like the GOAT. And let us like Andy in a very different way to think about like what he's been going through, how he has been connected, blah, 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 blah. I wasn't super like Unstoppable was fine this time. I think I liked Unstoppable better in the last arc so far, but I'm looking forward to seeing.
Like Unstoppable and Sean were just kind of there because they were. Or sorry, Unstoppable. I got confused. My brain broke. Yeah, Unstoppable. He's fine.
I really liked him in the first arc. So
yeah.
It's interesting because there were some people who were all like, remember when they didn't like those people? And I was like, those people sucked. They're better now.
Got built up now. And it feels like this is our first one who I really liked in the first go, who I was like, hey, yeah, he's good. He's fine.
He's fine. Like, I'm not saying he's shit. I'm just saying he was already really good. So this was like, yeah, okay. It felt more like, and maybe some people might think that his story isn't as interesting now because it does feel similar to just any of his arcs as an Unstoppable.
Yeah. I mean, what's her name? Haruko Ishin. I know Ishin, but is it Haruko her real name? Haruko's intervention in his life as a lesson of like, hey, there are kind people who care about you. There are people who want your life to be better. Haruka. I like that. I like that fine. The issue I have is I feel like Undead Unluck usually does a great job at like telling you the themes fairly deliberately and like directly, but not making it feel ham-fisted. And I feel like this was one of the moments where it just felt a little bit too blunt to be like, it's survival of the fittest, Mom. Law of the jungle. I sure do like Law of the jungle. Like you could feel, it was Uma Beast on his way. Like you knew Uma Beast was showing up because of how much he was like, haha, that's the rule for me. Top is is survival of the fittest and beasts and jungle. That's me top, in my opinion, about things.
Yeah, it was pretty ham-fisted, and I'm not used to that kind of level of ham-fistedness, so I was kind of like, all right, whatever.
Usually,
and that may be one of the reasons that I wasn't really very like into it. But on the other hand, the story with Ish was really cool, but more importantly, that whole the beast eating a piece of the soul of Ish and therefore being able to learn it thing. That was,
I like that,
pure delight, pure freaking delight.
Mechanically, I like this section. How the superpowers interact, the learning about the soul.
How we exactly.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm loving the different things. I'm loving the fact that we're going to find out not only about the fact that part of Ish's soul got eaten, and that's why Fuuko was able to understand what took place, and then went back to ancestors and understood all the people who came before her can also be used, which is amazing. And I'm hoping that now that we've had that reincarnation moment, that we might be able to unleash the rest of the people who came from them. So you know what I'm saying? Like we had the reincarnation moment, that instant rebirth. So what if every single person who's there and is one of the negators can have all of their ancestors released and they fight like together?
The previous owners, possibly.
Yeah.
I mean, we know that the other world basically does exist. It's very interesting. People making Mr. Beast jokes because of Beast, the Uma, and I think that's great and all.
Whoa.
We got a lot of Mr. Beast jokes in chat. Chat, I gotta be real. I've never watched a Mr. Beast video. I'm gonna struggle to jump in on this.
Yeah. I watched a Mr. Beast video for the first time last month.
Yeah.
And he put some people in the ground and kept trying to give them more money. And if they left, they didn't get the money, and they could choose to leave the other person down there and take some money with them. I just kept watching it and being like, what the living shit is taking place here, and why is this so popular?
We are in a moment where what I find interesting is Mr. Beast and Elon Musk to me are very similar. And why do I say that when they're so different?
Well, I think Mr. Beast would just love that you said that.
Well, I'm not going to say Mr. Beast isn't a better person than Elon Musk. I'm not going to say that. He is a better man. He does more good. I still think he plays into the myth of a benevolent wealthy person, where if his wealth was spent systematically on like building up government institutions, it would do far more good than the little bit of charity he can do that he actually profits off of.
Claims that he makes less money than he spends per video, that it's actually
he says that, but also he is like, yeah, I work so hard I don't even live in a house. Yeah, but his studio is built like a mansion and it has all the rooms a mansion would have. So it is the same thing. It's the same myth as like when Jeff Bezos was building up Amazon. He was like, oh, he's spending more money on the business. Yeah, because then it doesn't get taxed. Duh. Anyways, point is, they both play into the same idea of me, to me, where they are people that people look to as figures of futurism who predict the way the world would go and should be seen as leaders because they have these progressing views and want to shape reality. But the issue is, they are the last people we should look to as futurists because they look at dystopian fiction and want to make that happen. Like everything Mr. Beast does is on a slope, whether or not it ever leads there, that goes to Squid Games. He watched Squid Games and saw the idea of like, oh, people desperate for money will do horrible things to themselves and become fucking minstrel shows of entertainment because it's that or die. I should be the guy making them do that. And Elon Musk made a car where he's like, this is my electric car that's for the future. Oh yeah, is it really environmentally friendly? Sort of. The main reason for the future is because it's built for an apocalypse. Because I want the future where everyone is in a desperate dust bowl struggling to survive or owned by corporations. Like he looks at fucking Mad Max and Cyberpunk and is like, this is where we want to go, right? Like,
but even though all that is true, they were just borrowing from the Roman Colosseum. Like the Roman Colosseum was cooking as a distraction and a dystopic world where everybody would fight against each other and you wouldn't look at the real issues, and you would just build the Roman Colosseum up because the people would be willing to do anything to gain freedom or to gain popularity or to get Or in the case of many gladiators, lots of money through advertisement, which was very weird to find out.
Yeah, it's so funny to find out that gladiators
olive
were
oil
often
companies.
Did you know that it was?
I only use this olive oil, and I'm a great gladiator.
Did you know it was incredibly common for really popular gladiators to have molds of their dicks be sold as sex toys?
Yeah, that was a big one for me. The dude inside of I walked through Pompeii with kids, and they took us through this building, and there were all these like sexual positions, people doing different sexual acts along the top of this one building. And I'm like, you know, we're on a school tour, right? Dude knew for sure, because dude was like, and so this is the way that I tell you about how many languages there were. This used to be the edge of the ocean before the volcano created a new shoreline. And people from all over the world would come here, and they wouldn't know how to say what sexual positions they wanted. So they would just point to the different signs that would show sexual positions and be charged.
It was a famous brothel city, but it was also a trading city. So it had sailors from all over the world coming in. No, exactly. People are saying they had sponsorships back then. They had sponsorships, absolutely. Yeah. And one of the big things is, because everything was government owned in Rome, businesses would regularly be bought up. If the government needed like a new olive oil type that was going to become the dominant olive oil that the government was going to use and sponsor and make the main one, they would hire gladiators to have their likenesses painted on billboards holding the new olive oil to make people like it more. Or if they were like, hey, this new method of making sandals is more efficient, let's make people want to buy it so they don't mind when it replaces the old one, they would have a billboard of the gladiator lifting up his foot with a sandal in it. They had vending machines because Roman coins had specific notches from the presses. They had vending machines where gears would catch the exact notches on the right coin to vend out items. Ancient Rome was so much cooler than we give it credit for, where we make it nothing but really boring dudes being like, I sure love the Senate.
Anyways, I was trying to tell you about the funny part. The funny part is, that wasn't the funny part, which is hard to believe. But as we were leaving, quietly, like not under his breath, but almost under his breath, so only the kids right around him and I heard, he was like, or I mean, you could just pick up one of the gladiators' dildos on the way out. And I was like, what now? And he was like, oh yeah, it was quite popular to have a gladiator dildo in your home because they used to make molds of them. And then the gladiators would get paid extra money and they would blah, blah, blah. And he said, ironically, in much the same way we have casted the people who were burnt in Pompeii.
Yep.
And I was like, oh my God, man. This is not only overly sexual, it's really inappropriate to talk about the people of Pompeii that way. All right, let's move on.
I just want to say quickly, because chat said it, saying that gladiators are basically actors is wrong. They were kind of actors, but like, they're more like professional.
They were real. They trained. They were athletes. They were like
professional athletes is more what they were. And one of the things that I found most interesting was Rome as a city was so big it needed a real police force. It wasn't enough to have like the military there. So they would have soldiers act as a police force. But Roman soldiers were only ever trained in team fighting, and they could be a great team fighter and be a really bad one-on-one fighter. So retired gladiators often acted as coaches for soldiers. They would retire to be a combat coach and teach soldiers who were bad at one-on-one fighting how to fight one-on-one so they could be effective city guards.
Which is brilliant, by the way.
Yeah,
it's a good use. It's a good repurpose of your humans.
Absolutely. Because you have a dude who's become too old to gladiate anymore. Okay, I swear to God, Ancient Rome's just too interesting. This will be the last gladiator fact. People have looked at their skeletal anatomy and found out that because to avoid them dying, their helmets and shields were so thick and heavy that they would have looked freakish and their necks would have been like disproportionately gigantic and wide, and their left arm for the shield.
You mean the way that you just drew Undead?
Yeah, kind of like this, but without the like rest of their body being gigantically swole, and their left arm was probably about twice the size of their right arm because their swords were so much lighter than their shields.
Yeah.
Just some fun gladiator facts. Anyways,
we need to move on because I could do this all day. If you want to give me start me about the Colosseum, and we'll be here all day with me talking about the sails moving in and out and all the other shit. So let's go. Okay. I think about the Roman Empire nonstop. I mean, what is my Roman Empire? The Roman fucking Empire is my Roman Empire. All right, here we go. Great. It's still good. Okay. And bad. But still good.
Okay, where are we at?
We're moving past the first part where he's fighting because it bores me. Not a single person ever tried to help. You know what? I need you to take it down now. You're unstoppable. Don't be a moody little bitch. Here we go.
No one helped me. I did.
Nobody helped me.
Hey, bud. Yeah? You remember the first 2 pages you were in? Yeah, I said that I couldn't have done it without Ishin's shoes. The magic
That's someone helping you.
She gave me for free. The magic shoes she for free gave me.
That she literally built to help me out with her own time that I didn't pay for, but nobody helped me. God.
Bitch,
you know what?
Don't disrespect muscle mommy like that.
Take it down now. Take it down now. Ish doesn't need your shit.
Okay. Disrespectful bastard.
I love that we did a dual page comparing the amount of confirmed Umas to the number of negators. I just felt like comparing Umas to negators isn't like the thing. That would be like comparing all the different things that could kill you as a human on the earth, whereas to the number of humans on it. I like the...
Oh, you there? You cut out. You're inaudible. She's unaudible. She's listen. She's untell. Untell. You've activated your negator power of untell.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. It's all good.
Can you hear me now?
People want a Roman Empire stream. I would do a Roman Empire stream, but could we get like an expert on the Roman Empire to come on for that so that they could tell us facts we don't know and teach us?
Oh, they could school us upside down. It'd be fun to do a Roman Empire stream where we say a bunch of shit and then a person comes on and is like, here's all the shit you didn't mention.
Details. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Dude, can we find an expert on the Roman Empire to do a fun facts of the Roman Empire stream? I love that idea. Holy shit.
You know, we should set up a separate channel called Funny History.
Honestly, why don't we just do that on the main channel? Fuck it. I think it would be great to do like funny history streams where we bring on an expert of an era and talk about all the cool things from it, and we say the fun facts we've heard and they correct us and give us the context.
Yes.
That sounds so much fun. Wait,
and then eventually we're gonna have to learn shit. And then we're gonna be like, tell me about this thing.
A Brazilian who's apparently an expert about 20th century southern US.
That is a very specific thing, Haberfax. I enjoy that. I like that Knight is like, unfortunately, I'm only an expert on laziness. Funny Empire Facts is a good one too.
We should do a history stream where we just learn where we have experts on and learn awesome facts about history. That sounds so much fun. Hey, this is already a detour filled stream. Can I say an idea that I thought would be great?
Okay, go ahead.
I don't have the time in my life to do the research for this right now, so I would need a co-host who feels like doing research. But I so desperately think the world needs a true crime podcast where, sure, you don't do what people want you to do and be ethical by focusing on the victims, but you also don't focus on the criminals either. It's a true crime podcast where you just talk about how cops fucked up the case and were irresponsible.
That is a strange, also specific thing.
Doesn't that sound fun though? Just learning about all the ways different cops have bungled the case.
You know what's more fun that I've thought about from all the times that I teach psychology?
Okay.
I've thought about how much fun it would be to talk about different mental illnesses and the different ways that they have turned criminal.
That's kind of fun. All right. We should move on now.
We should move on. Moving on.
So Top is recruited. We defeat Beast by getting in touch with her soul. We've kind of been over all the points of this just out of order, but like, yeah, to close it off.
You know what's weird though, is it says this world began. Okay, so let's just Beast over a little bit. Yeah. So beasts don't desire coexistence to make humans suffer. You don't know anything, blah, blah, blah. This world began with only man and earth.
Yes.
Your souls were placed here on this planet prepared by God. So that goes back, don't forget that, Drawk, that goes back to the thinking when we were in conversation.
Yeah.
Then God added rules to torment you and observed to find what he desired, the greatest life of them all. So it's interesting because we think of, we think God is like, first of all, God is like Fang.
Yeah.
Because on this planet prepared by God, then God added rules to torment you and observed to find what they desired, the greatest life of them all. So God is life like Fang. God is looking to have like infighting and taking them down, and then in the end, one life will be above all the rest, which is very interesting. But he also said that the world began with only man and earth. And so we already knew that it was a genderless thing. And so we wonder, is that just one man or is it two men?
I do wonder.
We're not there.
Yeah. We're not there. We're not in my cork yet. We're not at the cork. But I also want
We're not in the quirky cork time of corkdom.
But something I found interesting in this bit that I think is worth talking about is that we both kind of noticed that in this loop, the master rules paint a picture that feels more like our reality and how we perceive evolution to have happened. Where this is a world where death was here from the start, beasts were here from the start, language was here from the start. It's like, this is a world that a galaxy was apparently from the start in this world. Whereas the last world felt interesting in that it was alien and there was immediately stuff that felt wrong and not of our world. This world feels very intentionally to have built in an order that feels more intuitive to us, that makes more sense. It doesn't feel like as much of a stretch, which is why I feel as though we might be going towards one of those classic endings where the end of this series is the creation of our world, which you see people either write.
Which I like.
Yeah, and you see people write that either where our world without magic is a great loss and a punishment and a failure, or where our world without supernatural suffering is a gift to the main characters.
And I like the idea that that's the way that it's going to go, because I also like the idea that this is this author's kind of way of saying, like, you know, respect what the shit you have right now, because this earth is actually a great gift, and that our earth in the end becomes like this phenomenal gift that we get to live on without like Uma's chasing us down or the knowledge that there used to be no death or any of this shit. So I think that's kind of an awesome thing.
So someone said they feel like the Master Rules is a retcon. I am inclined to give this author too much credit for that, especially because when it first seemed wrong that rules weren't disappearing when their rule died, where magma was killed and yet there was still magma in the earth, Andy pointed it out. They pointed out how that shouldn't happen and it still was there, which to me, like this author, I am willing. Everything that's looked wrong so far has been part of the story too succinctly for me to want to say that was a quick retcon. I genuinely believe Master Rules were a thought out thing ahead of time, and that it. Because every place something's been pointed out to not make sense, or that we've found that doesn't make sense, it's been explained literally at every point. And I think this series, the way it does that is by having a very fine idea of scope. The author is so good at not introducing more ideas than they can handle and being very efficient as a storyteller. And I think it's working to the point that I don't think there's been anything that hasn't been able to be explained and feel consistent.
I'm moving forward.
Yeah, do it. Move forward. We love moving forward.
No one could stop me. I'm a
Shadow
rolling
Wizard
stone
moving forward gang.
I gather no moss. I'm rolling forward. Did I tell you that I'm I've already gone through The Name of the Wind, and now I'm going through the second book right now, and I'm just so angry. I want to go and find the author and Patrick Rothfuss and just
that never finished book.
Punch him in the nose. And I know that it's not nice to punch people with massive anxiety issues in the nose, but I think it might help.
You're supposed to punch them in the jaw.
If you have massive anxiety issues, it's a jaw punch?
It's a jaw punch. Yeah. That's how
you know what? Maybe I'll just bring a bag of ice instead, and he can put it on his vagus nerve and feel better. All right, here we go. Unbreakable in this one is same thing. You know what I really liked about Unbreakable, though? I really like later on finding out the story of how Unbreakable already showed us, and how Fuuko pointed out that Unbreakable already showed us that you can actually choose and move who gets the soul next. I thought it was a pretty slick move to have it be like.
I'd wondered because it didn't feel like it made sense.
We saw Unbreakable and we saw that each generation got to move it off, but why only Unbreakable? And I just kept being like, there must be something particular about the idea of Unbreakable that the negator skills are able to pass on. And then Fuuko eventually, and this is what you were talking about before with the idea that anything that we think isn't already planned out is planned out, because then suddenly they're like, yeah, we already were shown this lesson.
Well, because I already thought that was weird with Monkey Man Shen also, that happened with Mai, but like, now it explains, yeah, that makes total sense. And I had thought, like, it is exactly what you're saying. Another example of something that feels wrong actually being foreshadowing. This
exactly,
which is why I think if we really want to predict the series, we really need to look for where things feel wrong.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the author had shown us, is that the author has said anytime that there is a part within here where you say to yourself, and you're having to make an excuse for it, don't make an excuse. Instead, dig into that part. Because you and I were talking earlier, and we're going to get into some pretty deep things today, and we'll go back and forth, and we'll build upon some of your quirk thing and some of the things I was thinking. But because we're going to do my whole thing about how you beat a master. But one of the things that I was thinking when I was looking at this, sorry, I almost had a brain blip, is people are always saying that this story isn't as deep, and that's one of the things that bothers them. Whereas in actuality, this story is as deep as the reader makes it.
Yeah.
And I think that it's up to the reader to lean into the spots that feel like there's some trickiness.
Oh, she's untell again. Is my computer glitching out? Is that what's happening at these points? Because last time my second screen disconnected. Mama, you are untell. You have been untold. Can you return? Bill Nye the Science.
Can you hear me now?
You're back!
I haven't done anything though.
Dude, I don't know. Internet's fucking us up. Who cares? You say what you were saying.
Anyways, so my point is that if you're not going to lean into the spots that feel tricksy, uncomfortable, poorly written, then you're never going to know, thank you, Ozzy, that the story is as deep as you're making it. So when you're saying the story isn't very deep, you're actually telling on yourself for not putting in the work. Well, it's uncomfortable, but it's true, Drawk.
I really like this story. I love the story.
Sometimes, Drawk, you have to say the things that are uncomfy.
So it is obvious. Like there's no.
No, recognize my pun. We do not move until it is recognized.
I sighed. Don't worry.
I sighed. That's a good response. I'll allow it. Move on.
I think you killed my brain. I don't remember what I was going to say anymore. What were we on? What happened?
Thank you, Ray. Revenge.
What happened?
And so, yeah, but
yeah,
I like race.
Okay, cool.
I think you know it and I know it.
Like, genuinely, where the fuck were we? I'm floating in space here. You calling out me not recognizing your joke broke my flow. I'm so good at things. I was going to say, it's real obvious. We've had a fall off in viewership with this series, but that's not our main goal. And in no way do I regret picking this despite that, because like this has brought so much joy to me reading it. I have enjoyed looking into this series. I've enjoyed thinking about it. I am excited for, before we go to Corkboard, doing plugs and talking about our next series that I think will be a bit more of a hit. But I'm really glad we picked this one because it's felt tailor-made to us and what we like talking about, and it's been so fun to read and think about. And I think if there's any manga that I've read that deserves this level of deep dive and thought, this is one of the three I'd probably give that title. One of the four. I think there's at least 4 manga, honestly, that would deserve that. But I didn't know about this. I didn't know how deep it was. I didn't understand how great it was, and I'm really glad that we were able to give a series that deserves to be overthought the overthinking treatment.
I also really like that we did this one together because neither of us had done it before, and it hits on so many things that both you and I are such a big fan of in fantasy and fiction.
Like Stanley Park.
You know, and it hits our country, and we're all there for it because, you know, your country.
Yeah.
And so it's incredibly
we love
cool.
being mentioned.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Sorry, I interrupted you for a dumb joke.
That's okay. You know what? I derailed your brain and pulled it off into the ocean and dunked it underneath. What's that part of the ocean called where it... No.
Oh, okay.
Where it's in the middle of nowhere and it's where they dump all the things from space underneath. I'm having a brain...
Is that one of the triangles? Is that the devil's, the dragon's triangle? No, Dragon Triangle is in Antarctica. Which one's that?
No. No. Yeah, there's just an area and it's like the furthest from land and nothing grows there. It has a limited plankton. There's really no real lots of life in it.
One of my favorite no sleep podcast
stories.
Point Nemo. Okay. This is the detour episode. One of my favorite no sleep stories was about someone who this wasn't no sleep. This was Magnus Archives. One of my favorite episodes of Magnus Archives was about someone who gained the ability to see the threads of death wherever they were going, and they hated how they could see the choking threads of death around the city because there were so many people going to die all the time. So they did everything in their power and like faked credentials to pretend to be a scientist to go to Point Nemo, and were dealing with like the struggle. Like people were realizing they didn't know what they were doing and they were going to lose it and go to jail, but they were just so relaxed to not see them. And the story ends with them seeing this building tendril of roots of death rising from the ocean, and they hijacked the controls to boat towards it, and the boat got hit by a satellite falling from space. I think that's fucking great. I love that.
That is great. I love that.
It's a great episode.
We should call this episode of Undead Unluck Left Turn.
I mean, I hope our editor is going to get rid of most of these.
Because we're talking about the story, which reminds me about this part. Left turn. Oh my God, though. Drawk, you know what we should do sometime is we should do this, but really just lean into all of our left turns. Because I feel like a lot of times I have so much to say about what you said. And instead what I say is, that's great. Let's move on, though.
I mean, there's a reason that when Achievement Hunter, the Let's Play group, made a podcast, they called it Off Topic, because they just wanted to come in with a premise and then ignore it. And just to talk about whatever, and I think that's great.
Yeah, because that's what I want to do. I want to lean into all of the different things. Left turn.
I think most of the episodes were also still like, I didn't listen to a lot of it, but I think most of the episodes were still like titled whatever the premise was, but they just wouldn't really talk about it.
I had a really good time in this one because we were doing so much time in Soul Land and we were doing so much time in Soul Chains, which is why I think that you had to do this one. It's one of the reasons.
Okay.
Which is one of the reasons I thought that you had to draw this.
Yeah.
Because this entire length that we were doing is all about the connections of souls and what souls do and finding out about souls and ancestry, et cetera, et cetera. So because of all of that, I think this was the appropriate thing. And to have Fuuko say that her partner taught her about Soul Link is really interesting, since Fuuko was the one that originally taught Undead about Soul Link, but she's giving all of the soul to him because as soon as he figured it out, he's been around for so long, he was able to put so many things into place. Without Fuuko existing, he would never have been able to be in the place that he is now, sitting on the sun with his Soul Link.
Better. It's why this is a great romance series. Despite
they haven't even had sex yet. There's been no sex between them, and the love is strong.
They haven't had sex yet, and also they haven't spoken in for her 200 years and for him 4 billion.
Which is also
last week. They just talked.
Yeah, they did speak for a minute. And this person hopes they never have sex. Juan, that's rude.
Let her get rid of her powers. Let Rogue find the boy who turns off mutant powers. Let Poison Ivy find the guy immune to the girl immune to poison. Let her
have full love, dude.
Untouchable hotties get theirs.
Shh. Rude. All right, moving on.
Except when I say untouchable hotties, I'm not referring to untouchable because she's like a 13-year-old girl.
Ew. Yeah, no, I hope not.
I just mean the trope of hot women in fiction who, if you touch them, you die. I mean that trope.
Yes.
There's a lot of
the world's first rule was soul. And all of you who were born afterwards used this rule for your own abilities. So we just have to make use of it ourselves to fight a soul with a soul. And I think that was incredible because when she went back and they were like, that's right, that will do. We're so glad we picked you. And how she all of a sudden understood, by the way, some of those people in her past life are adorable, but the one with the weird thing on his head and the big beefy dude, and then the dude in the top hat, when you look at the people, all of the different people in the past life, yes, but you can also see why she is linked in some way to some of the different characters that she's with and why she understands them. So let me pop off for a minute, a little quirky. because when I saw this picture of her, I kept thinking, oh, it's so interesting. This person looks like this person and this. And then I was like, damn, maybe that's one of the reasons that Fuuko has the ability to connect with people and know what she needs to do with that major, amazing fighter. She knows she has to fight him and properly have a fight where she loses because she was that man. And she knows what all the different people would want.
Like reincarnations, but those are the people who had the power before and she's connected to.
No,
right?
They're the people who had the power before her. But it's just like the indigenous principle of your ancestors who came before you. They see you, they guide you, they know. And so with these people behind her, these ancestors of her own power, it almost feels like there's something in her that was already having a connection or a whisper or a ripple in time that let her understand truly these people in her life that she's trying to help, because she's more open to this soul idea, which is why she said why she said what she said to Undead that allowed him to be who he was. And because she is naturally more connected without knowing why or how or what to the people who came before her. And so it has allowed her to be this like living embodiment of somebody who understands people at a deeper level because her soul is more connected to who she was. It kind of made me feel that way.
And everyone who had the easiest time connecting makes perfect sense, because the three people who did it without being specifically instructed are her, Haruka, and Nico, and we get a reason for all of those. Nico was blasted with all knowledge of reality, so of course he could, and Ishin, Haruka, of course would easily connect with the former people because it's her ancestors.
Exactly. Exactly.
The three people who do it makes perfect sense. I also want to say,
exactly,
I have a cute little headcanon, which is the order of the most recent 3 Unluck users, and I don't know why I find this the most adorable option, but I think the most adorable option is if Top Hat Man gave it to the big dude with the chains and big dude with the chains gave it to Fuuko. I find that adorable. I can't explain why.
You don't have a reason, but it's what you're sticking with?
Yeah. I just think it's really cute if Top Hat Man is like, hey, big buff dude, I see you. I see your kind heart and that you won't use this power for ill.
Like that. And thank you for telling me about it. I also like that we get to see the young person in here too, because it made me feel like this is why she understands why the children feel the way they do and why they need safety. It looked like we had somebody in here who was a nurturer, so she understood the need to make people feel joyful. The top hat dude made me feel like she understood juiz better, Juice or Julia better, because they felt more like that top hat dude than other people. So as I was looking at the picture, it started to make me think about how she and a few others have this like ripple in time that connects them to the people who helped before. And so then when she picks it up so easily, and they're like, I don't understand why she was able to pick it up so easily, because that's in here. And like you and I were talking about, which is why I'm mentioning it now, that whenever something feels a little weird, that's where you should lean into. So I think we may find out something later on, because it felt weird that people were like, why is she picking this up so easily? And he said, you caught on to them? Like Beast said, she cut off a piece of her soul and imbued it with unluck. And then he's like, they're like, that's amazing. How did you do that without touching it? And then Beast says, you caught on to them? And they're like, so that's what I see. That's why Injustice entrusted the loop to you. That is something neither Injustice or Undead could ever achieve. And in that case, playtime's over. And it made me think that ability to have empathy and that ability to connect with your souls of the past and to understand that dying isn't really a thing. As long as you're remembered. And so the person in the now, as long as they remember the people who came before them, can use their skills, because you're only dead when you're forgotten. And so if she remembers them and everyone else remembers them, then they're alive.
You just reminded me of something I was reading late last night. I was planning on reading half of it last night, half of it today, but I got so into it I couldn't stop. So I read all of it last night, and I was too tired to track a beautiful thought I had about Nico that you just got to. So I'm going to hope to remember this later, but it has to do with the idea of carrying people with you, of them not being dead until they're forgotten, which I think you can see how that ties in pretty easily. Anyways, to cut back to this, I also now want to talk about soul, S-O-U-L, and how we together pointed out that we are introduced to soul, S-O-U-L, right? And the parallel to S-O-L soul immediately before we have an arc that talks extensively about it, about like creates a game where English words sounding like each other and translating Japanese things into English is specifically important and to be looked for. There is no world where there isn't an intentional connection between soul and soul when these are like, when he is the segue between these two moments. He is the glue between what we get talking about the power of the soul and moving into language's arc.
So let me preface it with something so that we can get deeply into that idea.
Okay.
So when we were talking earlier, Drawk and I were having a conversation, and I said, I think when we were watching the Beast fight and how he linked his soul to all the other souls, and we were like, soul and soul feels like it's connected, blah, 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 and all the things Drawk just said. Then we were saying, so what would it look like if what is a soul come from? Where did the gods get soul? And so we said, well, it would make sense that the gods would get the soul from themselves, that it would almost be a divine part of each living thing on Earth. Everything on Earth was given a soul. The rule soul came from, the rule S-O-U-L came from the god S-O-L. And so that is almost a living embodiment of the God's soul,
and that
he puts
divinity in all living things.
The spark of divinity, but everything has a spark of divinity of all living things. So I said it would be interesting then if, in order to fight against divine power, that everyone's spark of divinity or soul, if fuuko got permission, if they all work together to move their souls together to fight against God and to beat God.
Which makes sense because in the language arc, we are explicitly shown, one person's soul attack can't damage one of these, but two working together can kill Luna. So we are being told that we are going to need the soul of multiple living things, perhaps all living things, to defeat the real soul in Luna.
So then if every animal, every person, everything with a life and a soul in it, lets their, I'm trying to think of another word for it, their divinity, that's what I'm going to call the soul inside of them, lets their divinity out and uses their divinity to fight against the divine, then that would be one of the ways that you could beat God. And especially when we talk about how fuuko then could empower that, and I'm going to call it this just to make Drawk laugh, that docking soul, when all the soul gets together and they dock together like in One Piece, and Robin would be very disappointed in it.
Docking soul.
Docking soul, then if fuuko could infuse that soul, that whole thing with unluck to fight against God.
Guys, even if it is Sun in Japanese, remember, the next arc talks about things being translated between languages deliberately and brings up English, Japanese, and Latin.
And we have been using all of them to talk about the sun.
Yeah. So
interchangeably. And so that is a little piece there where there's an uncomfortable weirdness. So you lean into it, and that's kind of what we're doing again. Okay, so now talk about your thing, because it attached to that.
Well, I just wanted here to talk about soul briefly. I want to go into my corkboard at the end. So after plugs, before closing segments. So I'll briefly talk here about, I love seeing soul betting on this. I love the reveal that soul was created by Luna. I think there's something to that. We had previously, we didn't bring it up on stream, I think, but we'd previously talked about the idea we had that if artifacts were created by Luna and the rules were created by soul, that the negators were probably created by both of them, that they had to work together to create negator powers. And I think there's maybe something to that if the first UMA was created, but, and this will come up later in my corkboard corner, it also got me thinking about the idea that perhaps if our first UMA was created by Luna, that maybe our first artifact was created by Soul. And I think I know what that artifact is, but we will get there in corkboard.
Yeah. And then once we decided that if all the souls came together, they could fight against God, if all the divinity inside of each thing could fight against God, that also kind of linked us back to undead. which we talked about a little bit here, that if he is sitting on the sun, he has his own divinity linked to it, that it becomes easier for Fuuko to love God because part of it is also undead.
I just realized something kind of cute.
Go ahead.
Fuuko in her soul form looks exactly like Fuuko, right?
Yeah.
Which makes it kind of adorable how Andy's soul form looks like an old man.
You said that, Rafe.
Because he sees himself as someone because he sees himself as someone who is I just noticed a deleted block term that has me so confused. I'm so ready for next week. Andy sees himself as an old man who should be at the end of his life. He should be naturally dying. Fuuko sees herself as she is, and I love that Haruka sees herself as a child still. Like, she doesn't see herself as risen into her potential. And there's something cute about the contrast between the three of their personalities, where Fuuko fully sees herself as right in who she is. Andy sees himself as wrong, that he should be an old man or even dead. And Haruka doesn't feel like she's ready for this.
It's interesting too, because Andy also sees himself as an old man, because he said that is the ultimate privilege.
Fuuko's soul form has short hair, though. I missed that, but that's so true.
That's what I was trying to say. Is Fuuko's short hair form shows that her soul is linked to the time that she met Andy and fell in love and got to be herself.
And that she got to look the way she wanted because her long hair is something she has for fighting, not because she wants to be that way. It's about...
Andy's soul form is old because he sees growing old as the ultimate privilege of life.
Oh, this is beautiful. What a beautiful story. All right, language.
Hey
guys. Watch your language.
You weirdo. I like how they're going back and they're like, we need to tell these people right away. Oh my God, we need to tell them all about the soul. Okay, and then, okay, no, not language. Chapter 198.
Oh yeah. I do love Soul being like,
I want to talk about
put an end to this.
Soul sitting with Luna and talking about it takes roughly 200 years of diligent practice to clearly notice souls, which is interesting because Fuuko has been alive on the earth for 200 years by this point, but she hasn't had diligent practice and she still can see souls. So that shows that soul link between her and her ancestors.
Practice of using your ability, though. Like, that's connecting with your soul. Maybe that counts.
Yeah, but we also talked about how she would be a person who has kind of a ripple in time of the people that came before her. So she would feel them more than other people. Plus, she's worked with Andy, and Andy has showed that the soul doesn't just reside in your head or your heart. Your soul is just its own thing. The one who has had potential to do that in past loops were the first seat, Juiz and Undead Victor. Both of them were first generation negators. Since they had no predecessors, they had never had a chance to feel a connection with their soul.
Because there was nothing before. Their soul is just blank. It is what it is. It was I mean, they predate the rules. Their mortal bodies existed before their souls did. That's fucking wild to think about, isn't it?
Exactly.
Like, literally,
so that was a really cool thing.
Soulless bodies at first.
So it shows exactly why it was so important that Fuuko was born, because Fuuko was born and had to live and die. So she had many iterations of soul. So then there's the second generation first seat who eventually made her appearance as Fuuko Izumo. Her soul houses the souls of every negator leading up to her. And so finding that out in this chapter was marvelous, because it was a good reminder of... Because when Juiz first picks Fuuko and we're like, Juiz, what's up, man? Why are you picking Fuuko? Well, I know why you are, because she's cool and stuff, and she has a soft power. At that point, her power's changed. But like, what is the deep meaning? Juiz could see the need to have Fuuko because she could see Fuuko's had a greater attachment and ability to what's the word? Dip into, use the reason, access previous soul. That's what I'm going to use. Access.
Their souls were basically isolated from the world. Yes. Dude, I love the reveal here about Juiz realizing, having finally put together the order of the Uma and understanding what needs to be done and being like, well, someone's got to be able to do this and it can't be me. Well, Fuuko. Dude, Fuuko's perfect.
And we talk about this page 10 of 19 in chapter 198.
You can. I'm not going to look up specific pages because I am drawing.
You're drawing?
I'm drawing out here. I'm drawing even.
Okay. We're sitting on the moon.
Yeah.
And Luna's sitting there.
Scene.
Soul is looking. Earth is off in the distance. You raised them to be that way, didn't you? Raised? No, I simply seek the greatest form of life. That's Sun's goal. Yeah. But yours is different. Sun created the Umas, and you created the artifacts. But this world's first Uma, that is me, wasn't created by Sun. It was you, wasn't it, Luna? Why did you give birth to me first? Why did you grant people potential? What is your goal? I simply find all this more amusing. So you're hiding the truth, even from us. Well, whatever your reason, my course of action remains the same. Oh, so that's a difficult area that you and I should spend some time leaning into afterwards, because her goal being different from or I guess its goal being different from the goal of Sun is, and you can see Top spinning around the earth behind him, is so good. But also her deciding, like whether Soul knows it or not, he would need to be down there at the table with everyone. He is the first thing, and all of the rules can use him to their advantage. But it really feels like the person who benefits most from Soul would be people, because they lose people, they love people. It doesn't feel like when you watch Soul, he says, "Goodbye, Beast," and he basically just gives him a bye. If we win, we'll see you again. But he doesn't feel like he has that same connection. When a human loses somebody, they become distraught and horrified. They love them. They're so connected to them. And he lost Mr. Beast, and it wasn't nearly the same thing. And yet he's been with him for billions of frickin' years. And he's just like, if we win, we'll see you again. And it made me think then, that's interesting, because that would mean that Soul would have more strength with people who love or living things that love. And so if humans learn how to use Soul, and if Fuuko's entire arcs before we got to this one was all about how love is the greatest power, and we went over and talked about that, then it would seem that Soul in the hands of people who love would actually be way more powerful than Soul in the hands of rule.
I like it. Oh, I also wanted to ask you, or talk to you about something that you pointed out, which is, I said an issue I had with the Beast arc was that Beast was not that likable, and you had an interesting observation. Do you want to go into that before we move on? Also, about how you think that's intentional, that we are supposed to be taught something by seeing Fuuko interact with something that she can't love.
Yeah, I think that in the when he said he didn't like it as much, and he felt like, he in all the other ones he felt like you like people, well, even
all the other ones, but after spring onwards, I felt like there was an effort,
and it doesn't always feel on purpose. It is on purpose, but it doesn't always feel like we're being forced to like them. It often just feels like it's the outcome of their actions and their connections.
And I think the best version of that to me is either fighting Rip at the end in Ragnarok, or language. Those are the two best examples for me of like not being forced to come to love our enemy, but coming to love them anyways.
You have to add a straw hat now.
I can do that. I can add a straw hat.
But I said, I think it's very intentional. We're not supposed to like Beast, and we're not supposed to have anything redeemable about Beast, and yet Fuuko still wins, because we're trying to show how Fuuko is has strength in gaining in her ability, that she's still able to win against somebody that she doesn't like or has given her no reason to have love. And yet she still finds a way to use her powers against him, despite the fact that she doesn't like him. And I think that that's going to become very, very important. Like, is it easier to kill something when you like it? Sure, it would be. But it's really important that she learns to fight without loving first, because otherwise she become impotent. And so I think whenever the story does that work, that it's intentional, that we don't get to like him, because it's mirroring how she didn't get to like him, and yet we still managed to beat him.
Alrighty. Okay. Language. The straw hat is a censor bar. I got an idea for how the straw hat's coming in. Don't y'all worry, folks.
Weirdos.
All
right, what do you want to talk about with language?
I really like this section. I think it's really good.
It's not my favorite.
It's not my favorite. Apparently people are really hype on it, but apparently this is also where a lot of people caught up because this is where the manga was when the anime came out, which got people on board. I really, really like it. And the more I think about it, the more I like it. I don't think I'm in a Spring situation where I'm going to come to have a deep, deep love for it from talking about it here, but I think it's pretty beautiful. I do want to talk about something thematically that I really liked, which is imagination made the game more powerful. So obviously when Nico was given all information, Nico could get exactly what Nico wanted to say because Nico had all of the words, right? Invited a curse of information from Apocalypse using the game, and had unforgettable, so it had to hold it all. Now, the part that's more interesting is the imagination, and his argument for why he could perfectly imagine things going the way he thought they would was simple, because he was making gambles that it would go the way he thought it would. And the imagination came from faith, because Fuuko had put on all this effort to show them all that they could fight for a world where everyone was as happy as they could be. So there was this unshakable faith and belief that everything could and would work out because of what Fuuko had done. And I thought that was beautiful. But also what you talked about of, as long as you remember someone, they're not dead, comes into play. People don't die until they're forgotten comes into play so beautifully here, because they literally are able to be brought back because of how perfectly he can imagine them coming back, because they haven't been forgotten, because he's unforgettable. He was able to perfectly remember them and say that they should come back and bring their souls back, because of course they're not forgotten. They were people who were, on one hand, loved, and on the other hand, respected and tolerated by Unforgettable. And I think that's really pretty. That's really solid. It's one of those things where I feel like if it were earlier in the series, it would be blowing my mind. But like, the bar's high, guys.
It's super funny because I was thinking the same thing. Like, if you had revealed this way earlier in the story, my mind would have been absolutely exploded. Mm-hmm. I also started to wonder right away as soon as we see, because now I'm like, oh, you put Luffy there. Luffy, you've been chained. Luffy!
No, that's not Luffy. It's just War wearing Luffy's hat.
Luffy!
That's War, actually.
Whatever. Potato. But we went through something. So I just want to talk about something, and then we'll go back to what you said, because it made me start to wonder. Oh, no, I'll say what you said first. It made me start to wonder about if you could somehow, because if you can talk soul to soul, which we've now, because of what we saw happen in this arc, we see that you can talk soul to soul. Mm. If you can speak from one soul to another soul, is it possible that everybody could show him, Nico, what all of their ancestors look like as a way of calling them back?
I think that you can only bring them back through the game, though, right? Like, that's why he was able to, because he said reincarnation, but it only worked because he could so perfectly imagine it working.
No, but remember how I wondered if they could call them back themselves through their own soul?
You know what?
And so if there's like a trick between them.
I could see their previous lives coming back, but I just don't know if that's how it would happen, you know?
I don't either, but it was just a thing I was thinking. Okay, so here's something that we need to talk about before we move on. Soul says, we are the entities who cause them torment, as well as the ones who get weaponized. That was what Umas are. They're starting to realize, no, they came to it unconsciously. In this looping world, there are 3 rules that one must wield. So 3 rules that you can use as a weapon. Soul, the rule that transcends physical boundaries to relay information to others. So see what I'm saying about how you can use your soul to relay information between, and I don't know if it would be over time or not, is soul. The rule that acts as a trigger to accomplish it, death, So this is why I think that everybody is going to be able to access all the powers, ideas, and strengths of their ancestors through soul and death. And then the rule that allows growth in those that accept souls, what souls have to offer, change. So I think it would be very, very interesting to see if everyone becomes awake. I'm going to call it awakened. Soul
like
awakened.
Devil fruit.
Awakened. Because, I wonder if with your idea about of knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, don't worry. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
I don't know if I have anything else to add. Like, I think we both
also, let me just say, I was pretty happy that I was right, that little girl with the Band-Aid on her face is the negator and the luck.
Yes, is the rule luck. Yeah, you are absolutely correct about the little bandage girl. I was wrong about who was death. It turns out it's the nun lady. Guys, I got terrible news. Terrible news. Death kind of hot though.
What is with you and death?
Did you see her? Did you see that weird nun? Great.
You're into nuns?
Not nuns as a rule, that weird nun.
Oh my god.
Nuns in general, no appeal. That weird nun? Yes.
You got issues.
It's just that one weird nun.
I don't know what to tell you. It's issues, man.
That's not issues.
You don't see me all like hopped up on some hot priest.
Yeah, but you did say Dofi was hot as fuck, so
he's not hot as fuck, he's just hot.
We're both allowed to have problematic taste.
Freaky nuns. Freaky nuns to me. Nuns like this to me are just scary. They just scare me.
They said
she smells of blood and decay, Mama. This is your son.
I missed that part. That would definitely be a
God,
that'd be like if you match with her online, you'd be like, yeah, she's hot, and then you meet her in person, be like, there is no date too.
Oh, no. Smelling is my number one thing. Like,
smell is a big deal. Fair. Smell is a big deal. I feel
for me, it goes intelligence. No. Kindness, because if you're super, super intelligent and you're not kind, that's dangerous. So kindness, intelligence, scent. And I'm not even kidding. Scent is my third.
I'm so lucky to date women because women smell bad so much more rarely than men. Like, don't get me wrong. It happens.
Oh, you're not wrong.
It happens. But it happens much less commonly.
I smell so goddamn good. I have signature scents and I work on it because I'm a teacher. Like, the last thing you want is a stinky teacher.
So, this is a weird side tangent.
Those people come to help you and you're like, ugh.
This is a weird side tangent, but when I was not in better shape, my sweat didn't have enough like hormone in it to smell like anything, so I never had to wear deodorant. No one could tell. And then when I got in good shape, the one downside has been I have to wear deodorant now or I smell bad.
It's a very interesting downside.
Yeah, it's the one downside is I smell like man now instead of nothing.
I wear deodorant just because I'm a person and I put deodorant on.
Oh, fair. Yeah, go for it.
Well, obviously, if we don't know Luck's gender, it's going to be a boy then. Lulu. No one would say that otherwise.
Yeah, because we said it's a little girl, so like you wouldn't. Yeah.
Papa Drawk fights BO odd user with good whole wheat deodorant.
The man also likes soaps.
The man isn't. You've never met a man for whom you'd meet and you would not think a thing about him. He is addicted to like triple milled fine French soaps and all the soaps. The man loves him some soap. Yeah, I didn't think about that. I married right because this man loves himself some excellent soaps. Like, if you want to get him a good gift, just get him like expensive, amazing soap, and he'll be like,
more often because like that's such a. The thing is, it's the only thing he loves other than Titleist golf balls that's a consumable.
No, socks. The man loves socks.
But socks shouldn't be a He's a runner. Socks are consumable. I forgot that.
He goes through his socks faster than anyone on this planet.
I forgot that since he's a runner, socks change from like element of clothing to a consumable item.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything more you want to talk about in language? Oh, Fang was at his best in this arc. Fang was at his best.
Oh, I loved Fang in this arc.
Yeah, Fang was just enough of a team player without losing himself. And honestly, at the end, when he's acting all smug and I'm not going to do what you say, Fuuko, but he's so deep in his evil cloud that he's just like hanging on with his elbows. Honestly, adorable. Like, actually adorable.
I loved Fang in this arc. I also loved how much our dead girl understood that he was going to be so important to it. I even felt a little bad for a while for our Tower of Babel language girl, because I was like, 1.6 billion years is a really long time. I feel a little bad for her.
I love that all of language's motivation here. It wasn't, I want to destroy humans and cause suffering. It was another case where we got to come to love an Uma, because by the end, we realized that language loved the idea that there was a mortal who, given her same access to information, was smarter and more capable than her. Like, that, given her abilities, which is his abilities, basically, they both have the same sort of thing going on with having a pile of information at their fingertips. He was able to outsmart her, and she loved that and respected that and just wanted to appreciate this person again. It was this, like,
it was a freak in nature. Like, don't get it twisted.
Yeah, I loved language, though. I loved this, like, this want to be defeated. Like, she wanted Nico to be able to beat her.
Yeah, I agree. But she also was embarrassed by it and wanted to be a part of it. I had never heard of this game, Shiratori. I looked it up. It's a real game. People play it all the time. And I was like, how do I not know about a game that I would like? I would kill it. I would love it
to adapt it into English, because the whole idea is the katakana that you don't end with in Japanese is a syllable you never start with. It's
some people play a syllable with the syllable Z, and some play it with the syllable U or Q.
You mean letter?
It's not supposed to be something, or sorry, letter, not syllable. People play it with something apparently that isn't necessarily super common.
My instinct went to X, but I feel like there's just not enough words that end in X.
It might have been, there might be an X. Let's look. I think X would make more sense to me, but Q, Y, and Z make sense. But Y is everywhere, Rafe.
I'm gonna tell y'all. Yeah, there's a lot of English letters that end in Y. I'm gonna tell y'all that, like, I love you more than ever. I'm taken bit. It's great. First of all, hey Nico, I don't know if you noticed, but this is a pro polyamory series now. You are actually allowed. It's not his vibe. I know it's not his vibe. I'm joking. He's got mono vibe for sure. We all know this. But more seriously, it really did feel like there was a platonic intimacy between language and Nico, and that was really interesting.
I like that for you.
You didn't feel any of that vibe of that, like, weird closeness towards the end?
No, I did feel it. There was like if we could have time and if things were different, we could be best friends vibe.
You know why I see this as one of the better arcs and why I agree with people that it is like top 5 minimum? Language to me was Nico's spring.
Oh yeah. I would agree.
It was an Uma that he came to respect. He came into his powers to engage with. He came to appreciate more about his powers from this interaction. It came to introduce him to how deeply he can love in the same way as Spring did for Fuuko. And it came to impress their enemies and get people on their side. Like, it brought Fang, who I think is like the Billy of 101, onto their side.
Also, language in this arc, language in this whole story is super important. Everything from Fuuko going through the storybooks of Undead to the person, having a person who writes stories and helps to show what history and what life looks like, to the changing all the Earth's language to English so that people stand out when they're from other cultures and are negators. I think language is has been like a very important element in this, and to weaponize it and turn it into something that then becomes a battle. First of all, it's just unique. And second of all, it's pretty cool because it shows the ways in which language is so powerful.
Can we talk about something else super cool here?
Yeah. No, I don't want to talk about cool things.
Okay, never mind. I'll talk about something lame then. Ichiko's Ichiko's pretty.
You're obsessed with who you're attracted to.
I'm not usually. I just couldn't think of something lame fast enough.
Okay, go ahead. Talk about the cool thing now.
That's not what I actually wanted to. What's cool is it felt like at the end, because of the love that language has. Well, no, Ichiko's not lame, but Ichiko being pretty is pretty lame commentary, you know? Like, it's not.
It really is. It's really shit.
Plus, Mama Drawk already beat me to it. She said it first when we met Ichiko, so, like, what am I adding?
Yeah, you're adding nothing.
You remember when we said what character we'd date and she said Ichiko? She beat me to the punch. Mama's on the Ichiko simp train. I can't even get on. The seats were taken. She bought them all.
But I already have taken off. We're at a different station. We're picking up reinforcements and food right now.
Okay, for real though, the thing I was going to talk about at the end, because of the love language Lan had for Nico, language seemingly was about to reveal something, and God snuffed out her life early. Language is based off the Tower of Babel, very clearly by the head. Everyone was learning how to, through language, and what language did, everyone was learning to communicate universally by using their soul. And they were gained a bunch more information by defeating her at her own game, and were about to abuse the rules and her love of Nico to learn even more they weren't supposed to, and God evaporated her instantly. God destroyed the Tower of Babel to stop it from connecting people and giving them the knowledge to defeat God and surpass him.
Is she evaporated? Because wouldn't language disappear, or is that the other thing that we talked
Master
about?
Will stick around. But like, the Tower of Babel was destroyed by God to stop them from gaining the ability to cooperate and surpass God. That's so cool.
Frickin' God.
Yeah, it was one of my favorite fights. I'll give it that too. Like, the word game fight was brilliant. I have to imagine if you're fluent in English and Japanese, it's one of the coolest fights ever.
For me, one of the coolest parts of this was when Feng was fighting the Ryu and he saw the soul and pulled the soul out. And the second favorite thing is, because he pulled out the soul, because they died, because they played it the way that they did, because he brought them back to life. It's so funny to then have Fuuko land and be like, I have to tell you about all these things to do with the soul. And they're like, shall I let you know what you were going to tell me? And that's really important because it lets her feel a little more confident in the people that she chose.
Yep.
Also, to have him pop off and be like, you know what, now that I remember everything again, and the Book of Dum Dum filled me in on all the past, and I'm now unforgettable, and I can't forget anything that I did to you in the way that I behaved. Let me just tell you right now, dying would be easy, but instead of allowing myself to be a person who dies, I'm going to be a person who's alive and rebuilds your trust, your faith that you put in me through my actions. And I was just like, yes.
I love how Fuuko has become such a perfect, impressive protagonist that all three of the people who previously betrayed her are now like diehard supporters doing everything they can for her. It's beautiful. I love it.
Yeah, it was incredible. Because Fuuko was crushed by everything, and then they bring the souls back. And when she landed, I just kept thinking, like, I think the biggest deal is that she knew who to get first. Like, the amount of time she must have spent, because we talk about whenever Undead comes, how he's an excellent general. He knows how to match talents. He knows how to put people in the right place in the right time. But it stops letting us know how impressive Fuuko is, because think about the decision on who to bring in first, who to trust, how it's going to change them as a person and how they're going to work with you. And like he said, he was such an asshat to Fuuko in the previous arc. I mean, I think that's a bit of an understatement.
I also love him acknowledging he was a dick to his daughter and apologizing to Ichiko for not loving his daughter in the past loop. And she's like, we had a daughter? And he's like, yeah. We had a daughter? I was a fucking bad dad.
Yes. And I'm going to be a much better dad. And here's something that our daughter designed, and I'm going to use it. But the fact that he said to her, like, the way that I'm going to make it up to you is I'm going to be excellent. I'm going to be worthy of the number one recruitment.
Yeah.
And I think that is amazing. And then the fact that he tells her, you're going to need to go here. You have to go here and it has to be you, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. I also, there's more and more, I am coming to like this arc more and more as we talk about it, which is something I love about the series in general. But I also love that our awakenings get to be bittersweet a lot of the time in this second loop in 101. And the awakening was so beautiful of the way he came in touch with his powers, instead of it being just watching her die, because he, I feel like, felt the faith they had in him, and when he watched them die, felt certain he could do this. Like, he was like, I got this now. I can do it. But like, having to face that there is no longer any holding back my emotions. We're no longer pretending we don't love each other until this is over. There's no more faking it. She is making the move and forcing me to acknowledge that I love her and that she loves me, even though we have made this agreement that until we're certain we will survive this, we're not going to. Like, there's something so nuanced about the feeling there. Will I finally apologize to Fang? Red, you gotta understand, the way we are with the series, we have acknowledged when we hate a character, we only hate them then. This series makes you love people.
We're comfortable with despising people in the past. That's the way the author wrote them. I'm supposed to not like them. They sucked.
Fang is embracing a lot of my favorite tropes in writing. I don't think you were here when I mentioned it, but I love the trope in writing of a person being like, I'm not going to do that, as they do it. And he's doing it all the time. And I love that. It's adorable. He's fucking adorable, guys.
I love it too, because Dr. Jack and I were talking earlier about how we are both people who, if you tell us to do something, we're like, well, I'm never going to do that thing now. It's oppositionally defiant. And Fang is a huge version of oppositionally defiant. And he is trying to push through his oppositional defiance to be helpful. And the way that he does it is, I'm not doing it, and does it at the same time. So he's saying that you can't make me. Like when your mom tells you to clean your room, or when your husband says like, oh, we should clean our room. And I was already cleaning it. And I told Dr. Jack that I'm like, no, I'm done forever. We're going to have to wait days before I'm coming back here again. But meanwhile, Fang, even though he's so oppositionally defiant, just legitimately gets out there and does the thing while saying he won't do it. Oh, I have to say somebody that I think is so hot.
Okay. Who's hot?
So hot.
Yeah.
Not hot. When you're going into chapter 208 and there's the colored part in the beginning, Rip might be the hottest thing this side of hotness.
You're saying boy band Rip, is it?
He's not very boy bandy. He's not wearing a shirt. First of all, his outfit is perfect.
He's J boy band. He's a boy idol.
Yeah, but he's naked. He's just wearing pants.
Yeah, okay. Anyways, he looks great. He looks fantastic.
He is so hot. It's almost it's not possible to believe how hot he is. It's also the look on his face and how into his music he is.
Read a little ahead, you know who's hot as hell?
Okay, who?
Fuuko's mom.
Really? She just looks exactly like freaking Fuuko.
I don't know. She got like a really adorable vibe. I kind of like her deal.
Do you like the fact that she falls all over the place and accidentally kicks things and stuff?
Yep.
I think her hair looked a little greasy.
You think so?
Okay, well, I did. I thought her hair looked.
I feel like it's that like early 90s over-conditioned Japanese hairstyle where it's like meant to be so softened by conditioner that it becomes like slightly voluminous and fluffy. Like, it was a really common look in that era. It's why there's a bunch of those older animes that have like the little bit of poof to the bang and the volume to the hair, and I honestly find it really adorable.
Dude, I was very alive during that time. Yeah, well, I know.
Maybe it's just because I grew up on a lot of like anime of that era.
You want to know what I loved?
What?
You want to know what I loved? Is this sweet, sweet little moment. So, I'm obsessed with watching different Japanese creators. Ever since we got into, I was obsessed with Japanese culture. Forever. I mean, I think you know that.
Yes.
But one of the things that I've always loved is the little low tables with the blanket around it that's heated so that you can sit and put your little body underneath.
Mm-hmm.
What are they called? Uh,
I don't know, man.
They are called...
I forgot another thing I love that I'm gonna have to go back to in a second.
Kotatsu. Thank you, Japanese kotatsu.
Yeah,
so
Kazuma made one.
They're not just sitting at the table. They're sitting at a little kotatsu, the mom and Fuuko and the dad, and they're eating the oranges. And apparently, you freeze mandarin oranges. I'm gonna do that this year. And apparently, they're so much more delicious when you freeze them and eat them. And they're having this like super freaking common Japanese family moment, sitting with the kotatsu, eating their little frozen things, having this moment. And I was like, that's kind of one of the things about this that makes it look so good, is when we were in Stanley Park, we had very Stanley Park things. Whenever we're in Japan, there's just things that are innate that maybe you wouldn't notice.
And you know why I love that?
He did such a good job with that.
You know why I love that? There's a lot of mangaka that really don't. And the reason is Japan has a lot of very specific cultural texture that if you don't travel or research a lot, you won't know. So for instance, Spy Family, I love, great series. We're going to read it one day. You're going to love it. But it doesn't understand that Westerners, it doesn't understand that Westerners bring their dogs outside to use the bathroom. We don't do the thing Japan commonly does where you have a bundle of like torn paper for your dog to use the bathroom in that you replace. So it mostly feels like Europe, but they have a little litter box with shredded paper for their dog, and suddenly the texture is lost. Fucking Shield Hero has so much shit that is exclusive to Japan in a very European-inspired fantasy world that feels really, really wrong. Like it has, all the plates have little separations for all the things on your food, whereas if it was European-inspired, it, to feel more European, would have a singular plate that everything meshes on. I 100%. Never noticed Japanese culture texture outside of Japan in this series, and I have to imagine with the research that would take, that when we're in places like Brazil, Hexsmith, if you're still here, tell me if I'm wrong, but I have to imagine when you're in Brazil, it feels Brazilian in texture, because Canada felt Canadian. The city looks more Canadian. America feels American.
I don't think I really paid attention to how, and texture is the right word, and I was using the wrong kind of thinking in there, or word, because when I was looking at it, I was seeing that little moment. I was thinking, wow, that feels like such a little Japanese family moment. And then I was like, my God, starting to think back to Stanley Park. When they were in Canada, everything felt Canadian. It didn't feel like I was watching how I usually watch an American do a Canadian show and be like, oh, this is Canadian, and everyone's going to say a boot. Like they're on the East Coast on one particular place, and you're like, get a shit life.
Yeah. One of our...
And so I thought, yeah, they do it. And everywhere we've gone, I felt like, ooh, there's something different feeling about this area.
One of our Brazilian viewers says that the slums in Rio feel like the slums in Rio. That's awesome.
That's really cool. See? Good job. Good job. Okay, Drawk, it's time for you to have some pork. Pork. Milk in a bag is mostly Eastern,
that's
but
Eastern
you can
Canada.
do
Us Westerners are not savages.
When I was you can.
No one take us Westerners are not savages out of context. I'm talking about Canada.
We can buy milk in a bag, but we don't like to. Hi there, YouTube. It's me, Mama Drawk. You've seen me in such places as here.
Catcher here.
This is where you see me.
You see you're here.
Yeah.
Why am I being called?
If you are interested in sending,
I have to buzz,
what is it?
Buzz in Amazon.
You have to what?
Hey, I will buzz you in. I have to buzz in Amazon. All right, we can keep going now. I don't want to knock my package. It's important. I don't choose when the Amazon gets here.
All right, Reputator, can you go back to 3?
I was so engaged.
I'm gonna need to be,
I was so engaged.
I'm gonna need to be moved back. Hi there, YouTube. It's me, Mama Drawk. You know me such places as the Drawk Show. And that's it.
That's it. So far.
Let's start with this. Subscribe. Why? Because it's fun and you like to. And also, why else? Because we're about to start the manga Berserk. And I think you want to be there for it. It is Berserk time. We're going Berserk. And excited. So because of it, it's time for you to join. And if you don't join, you might not be there for when I, Mama Drawk, am reading a manga that I'm going to have to read with my son, Drawk, that you might be like, really? You're going to read that together? Yeah, I agree. but we're doing it. We're reading their Berserk.
Are you going to look up trigger warnings before each arc, or are you just going in fucking blindfolded?
I've thought about this so much, and I've decided that since you and I are talking about it, I'm just going to make your dad's world really, really difficult and be like, no, oh my God. And then that's how I'm going to deal with it. I've
heard nothing but amazing things about Berserk. I used to demand.
I opened it and I'm already like, whoa, the art.
Well, something that I mentioned that on yesterday's stream is that most of learning to be a better illustrator is learning what to leave out, what the human.
We're still in YouTube.
Yeah, I know this in the plug. And what's cool about Berserk is it understands something that a good horror manga should, or any horror comic, that when you're writing a comic, more detail than is necessary or even good in illustration forces people to read more slowly, because the human brain naturally slows down when there's more texture and detail. So Berserk is something made to be that detailed just to horrify you.
So I'm looking forward to it because I think we're going to sink into it deeply and get to pull it apart, which I'm always excited about. I'm looking forward to I'm looking forward to the art. I'm mostly looking forward to it because of the one thing the person said about sitting around the campfire, because my friend and I have a campfire. Yeah, my friend and I with guts. My friend and I have a campfire moment that will live in my head for all times. It's a core memory. It's a core piece of my building. And so I'm kind of looking forward to that moment. That's what sold me. So I was sold on the soft, quiet campfire moment, but Berserk opens with a sexual experience where somebody is murdered. I know, because I read that part, and because I was like, okay, let's just see where we're gonna go with this, and I was like, oh shit.
Okay, yeah.
Oh my. Okay, so yeah, it's gonna go some places. But YouTube, we're doing it. Make sure that you come along for the ride. Subscribe so that you get the alerts. It's gonna be, I have a feeling, quite wild. And that's the first one.
I'm thrilled. What I know about it is that it plays on one of my favorite themes in all of fiction, which is the world is horrible and there's very little you can do about that. But what are you gonna do? Give up? Pfft. Fuck that. And I love that theme.
Your father would. I've told you 100 times. Your dad told me that if it ever gets to a point that they stop the NHL, he'll just sit in the middle of the road and get run over.
Jesus Christ. I am the opposite of that.
We were very close with the pandemic. We were very close. The NHL was canceled and I was like, oh, here we go. Center of the earth time. Anyways, so we're going to be doing Berserk. Make sure that you follow along for fun. If you want to send us mail, and you want to send us letters or postcards, we still haven't got a postcard. I say postcard every time, hoping for a postcard will come out of the woodwork. I love the fact that we have like fans all over the world, and I love postcards because it always has a picture of the place that people are in. But if you want to send us something, you can send it to this here, which is over top of Undead's naked body. That's the address. Let it blink. Well done, editors. Editors have had a tough time this round. What with the swearing?
What's up, dude?
What with the swearing and the things and the stuff? You've been so sweary. It's all about you and your swearing.
You're right. You know what? I'm the problem. It's me.
Okay, and if you want to join us in Discord, we even though it's called Discord, there's a lot of accord in our Discord, and it's amazing, and you should come on in and have a chit chat. People have full things going on there, a whole separate life that we don't even know about anymore.
I'll be real, it's too big for me to keep up with.
Oh my God, it's huge. And people watch things together. They talk, they build, they do everything. It's wild. If you want
to say something directly to me, though, I will check pings. Never feel afraid to ping me directly. I might not get back to
I've had some pings.
Yeah, I'm down for pings.
Yeah.
Although
honestly, after I freak that person out, I'm a little more careful about how I introduce myself to people randomly. I really freak the crap out of a person. I still feel bad about it. And then, so that's Discord. Come and join us here at Twitch. Be part of the live show. You're missing some things. Like, I don't know if you know this. I have a swearing problem.
Yeah,
you don't know that.
This is a long plug. If you're watching this on YouTube, you probably don't know that we talked about gladiator dildos for a while.
Whoa, man! Did you just really say that out loud?
It's funny.
Hey, editors, don't forget to go gladiator dill beep. Okay, because that's funnier.
Okay. Oh no!
And then, last but certainly not least, come into Discord. I will be back on this Thursday with Witch Hat Atelier. It is so beautiful. If you want to talk about beautiful drawing, I have no words. I can think of like, oh God, Drawk, I can't wait for you to read it. It is one of the most beautifully drawn things I've ever seen in my life. And the story is superb. It is a very different thing than I thought it was going to be. So that's it. That's it. Here's my second one. Hey there,
Hey,
YouTube. Subscribe. We're going to watch Berserk. It's traumatizing. Be a part of it. Whatever. Or don't. Whatever. Ciao.
I like it.
Okay, here we go.
Good. All right, everybody.
Oh, corking. It's time for some corking. You put the cork in it, and then you cork.
I love that.
Corkboard.
I love that we're both cork people now. All right, let's get right into it. We can't waste time. We've already been doing this as.
Let's go, corking.
I thought it'd been 3 hours. We're fine. We're actually at a real.
It's a long time. Just go.
Good pace.
We're killing it.
I thought we were way behind. Okay.
I am a cool kid, Ray. I just am.
Here's what's up, guys. This story plays in the Bible. You might have noticed it in a few places. Like God. God, he's in the Bible. He lives in there. He's inside of the book right now. What does this have to do with my corking? Well, I've been thinking about something.
What does this have to do with your corking?
I've previously mentioned that I think we are going to be playing on the ideas of a little thing called the Garden of Eden. For anyone who's not schooled in old school, Old Testimony, biblical, Abrahamic bullshit, the Garden of Eden is a concept, and tell me if this sounds familiar. God wanted to make a perfect paradise for his little folks. He made these little guys, in theory, in his image. Don't know what that means. And he popped one of them in a little empty place and was like, "You're happy now." And the guy goes, "I guess I'm happy now." And then depending on which text you read, he either makes a first person who ends up trying to get him to do bad stuff, so he gets rid of them, named Lilith, and then a second one, or he just makes one, depending on the translation you read, either from his rib or from his half. Those are both different translations. From his half is, from what I've seen from biblical scholars, more accurate, but the common English translation would be from his rib, because the common English translation is largely meant to push forwards a hegemonic worldview of patriarchal supremacy that tries to diminish the role of women wherever possible.
Which is bullshit.
In a text where women are already secondary, it tries to diminish it further. Anyways, the point is, they are in a empty zone together. That, to me, feels a lot like the beginning of time, where the world was two mortal beings, sexless, genderless, in a world with nothing but them. Now, we have found out recently that while most Uma are created by God, Sun, Soul, who we will call Sun from now on for sake of simplicity, because Soul is going to come up a lot, I'm going to call him Spirit for sake of simplicity, just so that I can actually know what I'm talking about. We found out that while Sun created most of the Uma, the first Uma soul was created by Luna, the moon. Now, my take is that the first artifact then, as most of the artifacts were created by Luna, the first artifact was created by Sun. I think the first artifact was a stand-in for the apple of knowledge, the apple of wisdom. Why do I think that? Well, my thought here, holy shit, someone said something that made me think of something to add on to this. My thought here is that the apple was a temptation to be like, hey, if you're claiming to not like what I've offered here, this endless world without death, without punishment, without disease, no sick, no beasts, those things were added later. No soul, because you are mortal. You have no spark of divinity. There is nothing beyond your mortal life, beyond your flesh and blood. You won't die. You won't go hungry. You just are here. If you were dissatisfied with this place, you eat this fruit or use the artifact, whatever it is. My thought is there's a chance it could be the ark itself, because perhaps that loops, that goes into the next world. It would send Juiz into it and explain arriving at cities if she is Eve. We'll see exactly what it is, but I think the first artifact was something to be the fruit of knowledge. And I also think it will be an allusion to Pandora's box, because that's a very similar myth, and this writer likes to mix mythologies. For instance, we see Ragnarok conflated with the end times of Christian mythos, right? Anyways, if this is the case,
carry on.
Juiz is Eve. I think the reason that Juice feels such a need to do this, such a compulsion to kill God, is because of her sense of justice. Because if she is Eve and is the one who is tempted to eat the apple, proverbially, and begin this, to invite this game of gods upon humanity, it is my belief that she feels responsible and feels like it is only just for her to fix this. This would make Victor be Adam, the first man. Okay. If we look at a lot of what feels like Christian mythology, there's one part that doesn't feel like Christian mythology here, which is the polytheism, that we have Luna and sun, that we have a moon and a sun. We have two gods.
Except for in true Bible translations, it was said that Adam had more than one partner in the beginning because there was also...
There's also Lilith.
Lilith.
But that is left out in a lot of tellings, so I don't...
Don't let me forget the Lilith part, okay? Because it goes with your thing later.
Okay. Now, let's talk about what Luna could be then. In my opinion, Luna, and by extension, spirit, soul spirit, represent part of what is called the Trinity in Christian mythologies. All right? Hear me out. Yeah, it's the Trinity. I think soul is an extension, because soul to me doesn't feel like the sun. The sun is Jesus in Christian mythology of the Trinity trilogy. Jesus Christ died for our sins, born to a virgin mother. You could say born to a virgin mother created by Luna, because Luna is feminine. I could see him being the sun, but he is not human. He is meant to be part human, part divine. So I don't really see him representing Jesus. I see him representing the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is an idea of a spark of divinity dwelling within all people. Now, in this world, the soul dwells within all things, because I think there's also a heavy amount of Shinto inspiration, and Shinto is an animist faith, animism being a type of faith that believes in the spirits of the world and of all living things. But I do think that soul is meant to be gifting a spark of the divine to mortals, which is why I think we mentioned earlier the connection between soul and soul. Now, if he is the Holy Spirit, we could potentially see the Holy Spirit being him and Luna together, as Luna created him. Luna could also be Lucifer in this mythology. I am really torn about what Lucifer would be in this reading. I cooked all this morning. We're a little uncertain about the fine details.
Which would then make Fuuko Lilith.
It could make Fuuko Lilith. I want to get to Fuuko really bad, but I first want to get to something else.
Yeah.
Undead. I think Undead's body is two figures in Christian mythology. I think Victor is Adam, but do you remember what Apocalypse's other name? The Book of Revelation? Yes. Yes. I think that Victor is Adam, Lucifer is a fallen angel, so it could end up being Soul if Soul switches sides. Anyways.
Exactly.
I think Victor, was Adam.
Carry on.
But Undead is Jesus. Why do I say that? Jesus was born of a woman, right? With no father. Victor's body never had any parents, but our Jesus and Andy was born of a woman. Sex was not involved. Shoving a memory card into a man's head was involved.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Andy's literally Jesus. I'm saying Andy. None of this is literal, because this is its own mythology.
He did rise again, though.
Andy did die for our sins. What are you talking about? Will die for our sins? Because
he did. He died for our sins.
He died once. He is in the apocalypse and is now in eternal torment, fighting the oncoming wrath of God, holding back our judgment. He is dying ad nauseum for millennia, literally dying for millions of years to save humanity from God's wrath and judgment. That is dying for our sins, and he is actively doing it constantly. And he was born of a woman and had no father.
Yeah. And then on top of it, because Andy is two men, he is Juiz, Adam to Juiz Eve, and he is Lilith Or then I'm sorry, fuuko would be Lilith, and Lilith is a challenger. She challenges oppressors. She inspires feminine strength. She's the protector of the world. She represents freedom and equality amongst all people. And so then Lilith was cast down and made to look bad and made to look like the devil, whereas she actually wasn't. So then fuuko would be like the devil figure who's fighting against God, so God oppresses.
Now, this is all a very Milton Paradise Lost reading rather than a
100%.
biblical reading. Like, none of this is in line with like what a preacher wants an interpretation to be, but that makes sense because this is a series about killing God. Preachers don't want you to kill God. And when is Andy going to return? Andy's going to return when the apocalypse comes.
Exactly, as Jesus figure.
Yeah, he
rise again.
He returns on Judgment Day. The prodigal son will return with the sun.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a pagan reading the Bible, which has animist elements in it and has polytheistic elements in it.
It also has like a Prometheus kind of moment where the sun would have, or sorry, the moon would have given people the soul, and it's kind of a Prometheus figure who's now been sent off to live in the moon and blah, blah, blah.
I have just realized something. Someone said something cheeky in chat, which makes me wonder if we already know this, but I can't ignore it. Someone pointed out that the moon was lonely, and I figured it out. The moon's motivation is so simple. Luna was in a world, right, where the only beings on Luna's level were herself and Soul, this lonely, brooding, angry, patriarchal figure, right?
Yeah.
Okay? Right? So, I believe Luna's motivation, because the specific question we're given, you're supposed to look at specific questions in this series, the specific question from Soul was, why did you give humanity potential? And the potential was through Soul, which we see as a spark of divinity. I believe the motivation for Luna is to raise humans to the level of gods very deliberately and specifically so that the world isn't lonely, to allow them to be the masters of their own destiny and be creators as they are. And that's why they exist as they do.
And then I don't want to say it yet. I want you to finish.
Okay. I don't know if I was going to add much to that is the issue.
No, I think that you've totally nailed it. So when we were talking about how it had different religious things, the one I actually wanted you to look at was Gnosticism for the Demerge, because they have this idea that the lower gods, the gods that humans...
these religions you came from, I want to give context, that you were looking at were specifically because you were looking at religious stories about mortals fighting gods.
Yeah, because I was looking at, thank you. I was looking at different religious stories where mortal people would fight against gods. And I found the Demerge in Gnostic tradition where they would say that the gods that humans interact with and are being led by are actually falsely claiming to be the highest gods, and that there is a true divine realm, but it is separate and transcendent. And that in the Gnostic tradition myths, people like Sophia and others create armies to fight against the lower gods so that they can find the ultimate god or the ultimate good. So I wonder if there's also going to be some kind of thing in here where we have like these gods or these things that call themselves gods are like shadows of real God or real good, and that there will be more to it. So because that's why I really like the idea when we're talking about, okay, what's endgame? So he rises again, he helps fight against the end of times. And then it is maybe the moon, because the moon is a shadow. It is the light that spills from other things. Is it possible that the moon is actually a stronger, better god? I'm wondering. And a piece of the moon's light is shone down in here to actually create balance with this false shit god. And that we're going to find out that the moon is actually more powerful, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I want to be clear, like, I don't think it could be at all a stretch to say that Andy is a Jesus figure, because, like, literally actively dying for the sins of humanity, literally actively dying to prevent humanity from being judged by God, to save them from God's wrath. Like he is as Jesus figure as a character can get at this point, which I think is great because he's introduced as like a crass, rude bastard. But again, Japanese culture tends to be much less precious with religion than Western culture. They tend to treat all religion, including their own, like Shintoism, with the same sort of a reverence and glee that Western culture treats pagan and polytheistic faiths with, which I think is cool as fuck, honestly. I say equality for all, put Jesus in smite. But I think he's about as Jesus figure as you can get already, especially since he will return on the day of Revelation. All right, is there anything we need to add to this, or did we kind of just like, lay it out? Is that? I think
it's pretty laid out for now. Like, will we open it up more later? Yeah.
Does this mean Andy will have to keep holding back the rules, slowly letting them out? I think he wants to slowly let them out, so that they don't have to deal with them all at once. They can take care of them one at a time. I think he has faith that they can beat them, just not all at once. Andy is dying.
I think that now that they're at the point that they're at, that he is going to slowly let all of them out as he wants.
Someone said Andy's dying for our sins, so I got to sin as much as possible to make his sacrifice worthwhile. The issue is, I think this is a God for whom disobedience is the greatest sin. So, like, you know, it's not the kind of sins that are like fun. It's just like being disobedient children. I don't know, man.
Okay, so here I don't think I explained this very well, so I just want to put it out there.
Cook it again. Get it back in the grill.
I think Luna is going to be like a reflection of a better God,
I think that's
just
very
like
possible.
The moon and the sun. So that she is an imperfect or incomplete manifestation of God, and that her true self is hidden somewhere away in some higher deity. And so that it would have this kind of existential theme that characters question the intentions and morality of the gods overseeing the world, but the moon is representing this unreachable ideal, and is trying to play by the games of the sun because she doesn't have any choice. This part of her is almost like trapped within this area, and that when they break free, we're going to find out that this reflection is actually a higher God that's available, and that's why she has compassion, and is trying to work within the universe of Undead Unluck. But there's actually a better world, and it might be, like you said, our world behind it.
Hear me out on something.
Yeah.
Soul was introduced to us. Holy fuck. I think I might have cooked what Luna is.
Okay, go ahead.
I feel really good about this. Okay. So we already highlighted that Soul was introduced to us right before an arc that pointed out to look at names that are similar, right? And that brought up English, Japanese, and Latin as things to consider, okay?
Yeah.
I said it briefly as a possibility, but I think Luna is Lucifer in the mythos. Not like, oh, literally Lucifer, but like fits the same role as a Paradise Lost Lucifer. And the reason I say that so certainly here, I think Soul is the Holy Ghost and was created, and it is that way in the same way we were talking about with the reflection of language. That they are both soul for a reason, because it represents, despite being made by Luna, represents the divinity of light and is a piece of God. I think we have already seen Luna turn against God by trying to ascend humans and possibly talked God into making the first artifact to begin the loop and give them a chance. And that the goal, instead of a perfect life form, is to have friends and equals. And the reason I feel that way, what you just said about the moon reflecting light brought to mind Lucifer's name in Latin, meaning bringer of light. And I think there's something fun about that, of Lucifer's job was to bring the light of God to the world.
Right.
So if Luna's reflecting the light of the sun and sun is God, Luna is bringing the light of God to the world.
To lighten a dark night.
Yeah. And in theory, if made Soul,
and to lighten a dark night in this way is to help them understand how Soul can be used to kill God.
And if gave them Soul, the thing that can kill God, that can ascend them and dethrone God, that's already the betrayal. That's already
and souls God would be souls would be the light inside of you.
Yes,
they are the
light bringer
thing that ignites us, the light bringer. So the light inside of us is a soul.
I think Luna is Satan, and I think you're right that Fuuko would definitely. I want to say my other read. I think Fuuko as Lilith makes more sense. I'm on your side now, but I do want to say what my thought about Fuuko was. Because I had 3 thoughts. One was Lucifer, but I've entirely gone back on that. I think Luna's Lucifer. I think it makes too much sense, especially because we just played the language game and both names start with Lu. I know she's Moon in Japanese, but again, we were told to invite Latin in the recent arc. I wouldn't even consider it if not for was it Shiroko? If it wasn't for that game, I wouldn't even contemplate that. But the game kind of informed us to think about language crossovers in a fun way. So anyways, yeah, she's still Luna in Japanese, then I stick with it even more. I think she is the Lucifer figure, so I take that away. My other thought was that Fuuko represented humanity itself. But I think in a way Lilith kind of represents... Shiritori?
I think Lilith represents humanity because the things that Lilith stands for are the things that make us intrinsically human.
Yeah, so I think it can kind of be both, but I think you're right that a Lilith figure makes sense for what Fuuko is in the world.
Yeah, I think that her being Lilith is also a great explanation of how you can have one man in love with 2 women.
Yeah. Would she also be Maid Marian then? Not Maid Marian. Maid Marian? What was the fucking prostitute Jesus was friends with? Magdalene?
Just Mary.
Mary?
Just
no. Wait,
Mary
was it also
Magdalene.
Mary? Mary Magdalene, you're right.
Mary Magdalene.
Oh, I got her confused with the Robin Hood lady.
When Drawk was in grade 8, he got all angry. He got all angry at me for not teaching him all about Jesus because the teacher was like, and obviously we're not going to go into the Christianity because everyone knows those ones already and blah, blah, blah. And then he came home and was like, why didn't you tell me about this Jesus guy?
Look, like I'm not a believer, but I find religion fascinating, so I've tried to learn.
Me too, but I said that it was very important for you to make up your own mind and come to your own place with religion. Otherwise, it is just the transference of my beliefs to you. So I'm just using you as a vessel for my ideas, and that's bullshit.
Yeah, no, I agree. I honestly hate how the conservative parenting movement, where the idea is your kid is your property and you should have complete reign over their life as a
your
dictator.
Child chooses to be religion, they do it on their own, or you are indoctrinating, period.
Yep. Like, y'all want to talk about grooming so much? Sheesh. Now, the difficulty is that religious people think that their child's soul will burn for eternity if they don't do it, so I get that they've been incentivized.
That's the beautiful thing. That's the beautiful thing. If you say that and you believe that, and put that out there, that's the perfect fear to carry a religion on for all eternity and make sure that you have complete compliance.
If you believe your child will burn forever if you don't, it's hard to judge people for doing it.
Hell yeah. If I believe that, I'd be like, you need to believe in this. I need to make sure that we both eventually go up to heaven together.
Yeah.
And that's upsetting.
It's difficult. As someone whose parents were raised on no religion, hard agree. Yeah, well, look, I'm a secular boy myself. I don't know if you've noticed. This can all be cut out. I think our cooking doesn't.
But here's the problem. For some people, religion is a beautiful thing that actually helps is a gift to their life. But I just think that they should get to choose that gift.
I have looked into and learned a lot of beautiful things about religion. I'm not a Reddit atheist. I'm not gonna be all, you should feel bad if you believe in God or whatever. It ain't for me, because I think everyone would find it an insult if I participated in a church just to be there and benefit from the shared community, but had absolutely no belief in my heart.
I think that people should have an option of having religion in their life because it can be so beautiful and it can be something that really helps them. And I could see why you would want to introduce. I just think that you have to be very careful to let people choose their life and choose their future and not tell them how to have faith.
Above anything else, the sense of community it gives you is just incredible, like in a practical sense. Like,
I know somebody who's super unreligious. Can I just say this? This is a really amazing thing that happened recently. I have a friend who goes to church. I'm going to use that word. But it's church for non-religious people, and they literally get together and sing some nice folk songs.
Dude, I remember that.
And then they talk about good stuff that's happening in the community. Everyone who comes there comes with a nice story about good things that are happening in the community. And then the person at the front talks about different philosophical ideas and asks people to consider their life through it. And then they hang out and have coffee, tea, and cookies, and then they go home.
I briefly, because this is the detour episode and we're making good time anyways, I'm going to briefly say, first of all, that's fucking incredible. And I might get into that. That sounds great because I love the idea of a place to hang out and just be chill.
You're on the island and I said, like, there's no religion. It's just for people who aren't religious. They're looking for community
and people to hang out with. I love it. But the thing I was going to say is, if you feel Reddit atheist pill, here's my reasoning, right? Pilled. I've seen people argue, but if you believe in utilitarian ethics and you believe in logic and reason and everything, you should be anti-religion because there's a brick wall in ethics where people will have an irrational commitment to something where they believe their sacred mortal soul is on the line and will act irrationally and do evil things and feel completely justified. And I used to believe that argument that that's why religion was inherently bad, because it got people in loops of thinking that cannot be argued with. And what I've come to realize is we do not live in a world where the point we are at would have the average person who is non-religious acting rationally enough for that to make a fucking difference. People will justify literally anything to themselves anyways, that the difference in reasonability between a religious and non-religious person is almost nothing. And the only difference I ever find is the language they tend to use to justify the evil things they do.
I would agree.
Like, secular people can be just as
like everyone can be nice, evil. Everyone can be evil. So it's ridiculous. Like,
I think that argument would carry a lot of water if people were all rational thinkers. And then we could say, hey, we should move away from religion because it's justifying evil in rational minds.
But that's not what's going on.
No.
You know what I do believe? I do believe in putting your shopping cart back, and I do believe if you don't, you're a dick.
No, yeah, absolutely. I think a neutral person always brings their shopping cart back. I think a good person occasionally sees a shopping cart someone else didn't bring back
and also brings it back, and a bad person puts it in a freaking parking spot like an ass.
Or just leaves it there. Yeah, bring your parking. Participate in society. Bring it back.
There are a few things that make me believe that people are rotten jerks more than not taking your goddamn shopping cart back. Take your shopping cart back. Yeah, that is my take on shopping cart. Yep, shopping cart morality. In Europe, we have to put a coin in too a lot of times.
Not anymore. They've mostly gotten rid of it. It's basically just Superstore.
They've mostly got rid of it, yeah.
It's pretty much just Superstore that still does it.
You know where can be real problem is Canadian Tire.
Canadian Tire is a hellscape at all times. It's a war zone out there.
There's shopping carts just all over the parking lot at Canadian Tire, and I just want to look at all the people and be like, unless you have a baby in the car that you're waiting for, you are now evil. You've just proven to me you do need religion. Here it is. Go learn. That's how I'm going to give people religion. I'm going to walk up to people with random religions inside of a tote and be like, I see you didn't return your shopping cart.
Okay.
You're a person who religion.
The reason I think Europe does it is because the European mindset is different. They did studies, and the reason most North American grocery stores got rid of it is very simple. North Americans like to look at things as having a price. It's the same reason a lot of times people add a fine for something where without the fine, there's only social consequence. People will do it more once there's a fine because then they feel justified in committing the faux pas because they're paying for it. They actually found that people return shopping carts far more and steal them far less in North America when they have no coin, because they, instead of seeing it as, oh, I won't get my quarter back if I don't bring it back, they see it as, wow, for $1 I can buy this like $50 shopping cart as a tote. That's great. Like we are so,
I'll put it wherever I want.
We are so purchase minded in North America. Yeah, parking fine. You mean it costs $50 to use this handicap space? What a deal.
It's not girl math. Don't make me eat you, Paladin. No, the other area that I use. The other area that I use as a litmus test is if you cut in line in front of me. And if you cut in line in front of me, I'm just going to pre-warn anyone in the future who cuts in line in front of me. It's a dangerous thing to do because I really don't have any worries about how loud I get in public or the types of things that I'm willing to say. But you will be called out loudly. And slowly. I like to slow play it. I like it to be a slow build. I like it to get to the point where I call you Satan. Like, just, it's a slow build.
All right.
Yeah. And I wear heels all the time because I like to look down on the patriarchy.
What? Should we do closing segments for our last half hour of show?
You know, I've heard couple closing seconds, and here's what they are. Number 1, can you make his body redder?
Oh yeah, like I'm working on it. It's red time now. Don't worry.
Oh, thank
God. Right now, we were just doing some render on the chains. I really want these chains to look.
Yes.
I feel like I got the
green
on some of these chains looking real nice though.
If anyone wants me to, if anyone cuts in front of you, I want you to channel me. And when you channel me, just see it as a moment for you to get out all the issues you're having lately in a very, very nice voice.
I had a moment today where I got to make someone feel incredibly uncomfortable. Do you want to hear about it?
Yeah, I do.
My
left hand. Left hand turn.
My strata manager was like, "How's the sale going?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, not bad. We've been top of list for 4 people now, but they all thought the strata was too high." I said that to the head of our strata.
Did you feel so good in every part of your person?
She looked so uncomfortable, and I fucking loved it.
Oh, did you high five yourself in front of her?
Strata is a fee you pay to your apartment building so that they do the repairs and stuff for you.
Fix the roofs, repair the building.
In our building is insanely high compared to the competition.
It is.
We've gotten,
and it went up
it goes
so
up
much
every year. We have had literally 4 people be like, "Yeah, it's our favorite building, but we're not getting it because the strata is too high. We can't afford the strata."
Who could? It's expensive. Wow. Good for you. Yeah. I'm proud of you.
Yeah. Honestly.
That's the energy I'm asking for, people. Honestly, that's the energy I'm asking for.
It felt like a champion. It was great. I have rarely seen someone look as uncomfortable. Thank you, regular guy, for your final bits.
I have my last bits before the stream ends, and I will channel you. I love it, regular guy. Do it.
Closing segments.
Okay. Top people in the story. Who are we gonna pick? I get to pick first this time, right? Or did you? We watched the movie together, and did I pick first for the movie?
Count movie towards this. I'm gonna say you go first because I'm feeling torn, and I want to see which direction you're taking it.
All right. Yeah.
There's a big question we have. Actually, can we before we pick where people go? I want to this is unconventional, but we break the rules all the time. That's our whole show. I want to face an unconventional question before we do this. Question is,
all right.
Even though Nico clearly did more and had more focus, does he get a combo with Ichiko or not? Because that's a real debate this time, and I'm not sure how I feel. I wish it was a clear-cut yes, because Ichiko has had a lot of screen time, but this was very clearly more a Nico thing than an Ichiko thing. Like, I don't think it comes across as sexist because this is like
he couldn't have done what he did without her thinking
it's just
at
a supporting role. Does it count enough? Because here's my thing, right? I don't think it feels sexist because this is the first time I feel like we've had the lover woman be purely support. It's not like a trope this author uses. I think he's great.
But I would also disagree. She, like Rafe just said it, she is the one who summoned Fang. She made them sacrifice their actual lives to bring them back. She was the one who was putting out different words. They were having like conversations. She's the one that's creating words winning.
Which is why I genuinely, instinct in my heart, and I this is crazy, right? This is crazy. The instinct in my heart is, and who would think that this would have ever happened? Like last week, would you think this happened? I think Ichiko makes more sense being paired with Fang than Nico on the top 5.
Oh shit!
That feels more right to me.
That is not a thing that you should be able to say out in the world.
I will agree. Imagine if we thought that last week?
I will agree. No, Fang would have been in the bottom of my list.
Ichiko and Fang is a pair?
But you're not wrong. You're cooking today. You're just cooking.
Because they were both playing support for Nico's story. It was Nico's story. They were both important. He couldn't have done it without them, but they were both the supporting pillars of Nico's story. Fang was the pillar.
She a little bit more, but on the other hand, Fang is the reason they discovered all the things about Soul.
And I think it is worth noting that when you were pointing out her contribution, you brought up Fang as one of her contributions.
Yeah. All right. You know what?
Okay.
Nico 1. Ichiko and Fang 2.
Ooh, 2. Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah.
Oh my God. That is not a list I would have put together in any part of the world.
Man, it's crazy. It's crazy out here. I'm gonna do one. I'm gonna say soul number 4.
Soul number 4. Yes, friend.
It's soul with a U.
I would almost love to just
Soul and Luna?
slide Luna in
Soul
there.
and Luna, number 4. Let's do it.
Soul Luna combo.
Let's do a Soul Luna combo. Someone was saying that language could sit with Nico, and I don't hate it, but I don't know. I feel like that's difficult. No, I feel like their arcs are so different. Like, I love Nico wasn't just highlighted because of language. I feel like it doesn't feel like a connected hero villain to me in that way. I see it. All right.
He's not only intrigue-based, Rafe, there's also that feeling with Soul that he unraveled a bunch of the things for us. But I would agree that you're not wrong that he brought up enough things that we're interested in the future, that intrigue is kind of what pushed him over the edge.
I think this looks rad as fuck, by the way.
I would pick language as 3.
Language is 3, I think, is really fair. So I got to pick 5. I'm going to say Haruka 5.
Yeah, that's fair. I like it.
Julia was in contention, I want to say. But I think
Julia should be, but
I think honorable mention to Julia.
Yeah. Honorable mention to Julia is fair. Instead of an asterisk, though, because it's Julia, I'm going to give her a star. And a poke in the face. Love
that kid.
Yeah, no, I like it. It's right and it's good and it makes sense and it fits, and it's right and it's good and it makes sense and it fits.
Why? Maybe it's just Sean's vibe, because I've been dwelling on the fact that someone pointed out that Fang, this arc, is good while being bratty, and there's no argument that he's not bratty and arrogant, and maybe it's just Sean. Sorry, Sean, skill issue.
Immature. My whole thing hinges on him not understanding that Unbreakable helped him out. I've been going through this and no one's ever helped me out.
Sean, but also fucking Top was,
Sorry.
Top
but
also
Top, yeah.
Top also.
Yeah. No, both of them. I was just like, come on, you whiny little whiner.
Unbreakable made those shoes for you. Those took forever. She's a nice buff lady.
I'm not the resources, and she has a lot of other shit going on. She just doesn't need to sit around making shoes for you all day.
Okay, I gotta be real. I feel like that family has to have been eugenicsing and selecting the people with the highest amount of natural muscle mass possible, because we never see Haruka working out, and she's fucking huge. Like, I feel like that family has been hand selecting the buffest people to marry into over and over again for the last few hundred years.
Did you see that Ray's actually also said that Sean is kind of a sopping wet dog of a man? Yeah.
Rays, you're so right for that.
Yeah, Race. Yeah, you just described him very well. I'm shitting on Sean all over the place.
I love our episode where we shit on Sean. I think it's hilarious. All right.
Haruka was one of my very favorite people, because I also, that Japanese student who was way back in my life when I was 3 years old was Haruko.
Oh.
And so I loved Haruko.
Minor characters is hard because there's not a lot of them in this section.
Shit, yeah. There's Whiny Unstoppable's mom.
Yeah.
And she was fine.
She was fine, yeah. She was okay. Yeah.
I picked Fuuko's mom.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, she probably won't be minor next section, but just because we read ahead and saw her early.
Yep. I'm calling her minor in this case because we read up to 208, and therefore I picked Fuuko's mom.
I'm gonna say, okay, actually, this is fair. This isn't even a dumb one. I'm gonna say Change, because first of all, Change is always funny. I just feel like she's fucking great. But also, when we talked about One Piece, one of our big complaints that we had, and people were like, "Oh, why don't you?" was like, we complained about some of the sexual jokes not being good. That's a funny sexual joke to have her just yell, "I'm sick of seeing your dick." Like, it's really funny.
Yeah.
Like,
whenever you can yell that to someone, you should.
It makes sense. She's been fucking going fisticuffs with the same naked man for hundreds of years.
I think we should add that sentence to divorces so they're funnier. Just for the laughs.
No, Change is my favorite minor character this arc.
Okay, no, I like that.
All right, Drip. Who's
I
your
think
Drip?
mine is more minor, but I'll still give it to you.
I feel like yours is going to be major next arc, and if we'd read the correct amount,
mine's going to be the center of the universe. If we read
the correct amount, your character wouldn't exist. So I think I won that one.
No, because if you go and look in the page right now, you'll see it goes all the way to 208, 208. Because I already talked to
change it.
I talked to Red Potato. I can't help it that Red Potato is a diligent and thoughtful young man who fixed.
Is it just me, or do the blue lines for underglow on his muscles make this look incredible?
Is it just me, or do the red dots and lines on the blue make it look incredible?
Yeah. This slaps. This is great. Does Lands Coliseum
count as Drip?
Oh, I meant
Good question.
Sorry, you go first, and then I'm going to answer that. I'm going to talk about something from chat.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I'm just trying to puzzle it out whether or not it's
we counted
Babel.
Lord Gaga as Drip, and he was a Numa.
That's true. That's 100% true.
Someone earlier said language was hot, and here's where I'm at, right? I love a good monster girl. I did a monster girl stream recently. I drew a pretty gargoyle. I'm going to bring her up while I'm talking about this so that people see the evidence that I'm being real here. I love a good monster girl. I knew Little Girl was going to hit stage 3. Oh, another detour. Why not? More of them. I do like that we're getting introduced to things in phase 2 at the start now. It feels like we're ramping up. It's a bit arbitrary, but I really like it. Makes the world feel more textured that we're not always starting at stage 1. I don't know. I like it. But you see a little girl.
I like that too.
You see a little girl, you know it's anime and she's going to get a hot form. And I figure, like, she's one of the master rules. It's going to be a hot form that's a little bit monstery. And I was so ready to be into her. I feel nothing. I feel nothing for phase 3 language.
All she did is grow up.
Yeah. This was
grow up.
This was the gargoyle girl I drew for our monster girl stream, by the way. I'm going to be uploading this for probably tomorrow. So this video will be out tomorrow.
She cool.
Yeah.
She cool.
I like her.
She cool. Hey, I need you to make me a tattoo thing, by the way, of the fish to flower as a thing that can be done in a kind of turned into something that can turn into a tattoo.
So yeah, Drip languages gear counts. I'm not picking it.
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah.
Do chapter covers count?
I'm going to say chapter covers don't count. I think Drip has to be a character. You can't. Hey, can we give an honorable? Oh, we forgot to give ranks to Fuuko and Andy. Fuck.
No, let's do that after.
Yeah, let's do it after.
Thank you, Ray. Rafe understands. I need shirtless Rip in here.
Can we give him a special seat of like, hey, you looked really good on a cover, and we're probably going to see you look like that for real next arc?
He looked hot.
He does look hot. You're right. Yeah. I feel like
that's the first time that I've.
Sorry, you go.
That's the first time that I've looked at a character in a manga and been like, damn.
I feel like you said that about Zoro at one point during Wano.
Oh, yeah, I really did. I also did say it about Hawkeye.
Yeah.
I also, actually, I said it a lot. I'm starting to think of all the people I said it about.
You've done it more in One Piece than this. I feel like there hasn't been as many hot men as hot women in Undead Unluck. And I'm glad that, like, I know people are into Fang. I know you have your taste. Fang
is just cute to me. There's something about him that just is. Yeah, but not in a way I like. I like a person who's fully grown up and isn't petulant. One petulant person in a relationship is enough.
Good. That's a good. Yeah.
Okay, this one is hard.
Yeah, I think I have my choice for Drip. It feels lame, but I don't know. There's not as much Drip this arc as there often is in this series, and I think my choice for Drip is going to be when Top wore Haruka's ultra super armor and it looked like a Kamen Rider character.
Okay. Mine is surprising to me.
Okay.
It's Uma Beast.
Uma Beast, I considered. I think he looks rad. Were you thinking phase 2 or phase 3?
Yeah. 3.
You know what's wild? I know it looks goofy with the silly rabbit ears and everything. I actually really love phase 2. I think it's the right type of
I like
goofy
phase
for me.
2, but I'm not even doing phase 3. I'm doing after he eats Unbreakable.
Okay, so like armored up. Okay, so not phase 3, but like the upgraded phase 2.
Phase 2 upgrade.
Hey, there we go. I really like that design too. I think the base design was my favorite, weirdly enough. Like, I just like that it's simple and kind of goofy. I like that in the design, but like, he looks really good.
Yeah, but it's not very goofy when he goes up and he looks like a freaking gladiator. Yes. He literally has a gladiator skirt on.
We did talk about Fang sinking into the cloud and how it looks fucking cute, and he's ridiculous, and I love
Oh my god, it's so adorable that he gets better and sweeter, so he can't stand on the cloud, and now he looks ridiculously cute with his little elbows up on top of his cloud, floating away.
And he's still trying to act like a little badass, like, you think I work for you, Fuuko? And it's like, buddy, come on. Buddy,
we can see you, sweetie. We can actually see you with our eyes.
Baby, come on. Oh my god, this looks so good with the black background. Holy fuck.
Oh, a black background. That's what was missing.
I'm going to do some fixes to make it look really good in these last 15 minutes.
Dr. Jack, I hope you have a really good sleepies.
Love you, Dr. Jack. You're a real
Happy 1-year anniversary, Dr. Jack.
Yeah, happy 1-year anniversary, man. Dude, this looks sick as fuck, actually. I kind of wish I hadn't have drawn these dudes and had just made it him, but I don't know. Didn't know how cool he was going to look.
No. I like it with the dudes.
Okay. So
Fuuko and Undead.
Can I pitch my perspective on this real quick?
I know what I'm doing for Undead. I just don't know what I'm doing for Fuuko.
We have been ranking Fuuko on a high bar, and I think it's fair because she is one of fiction's greatest protagonists. And I think in this section, we kind of agreed that her parts were not the more exciting parts. And I'm feeling like giving her a B by Fuuko grade standards.
That's very interesting. I was going to give her an A, but I can see a B.
I was debating A or B because she did have her soul revelation, which I think might bump her from a B to an A.
That's exactly what I was about to say. The fact that she did the soul revelation and the fact that she was able to go back and connect her ancestors lifts her to
without
an A.
Without that, I'd feel more solid in a B. I'm going to go with you and say
if that hadn't happened, it would have been a B all the way.
I think this section is minimum S tier for our man.
I think he's S+.
I was thinking so too. I wanted to see where you were at before committing. I think this is like Andy. It's not quite S++ where it raises the bar for him forever.
No.
But like,
no.
This is a high tier. This is Andy doing Andy. Like, holy shit, he's doing it.
He's been doing this every 3 months for like 1 billion and a bit years. So like, I'm
better at it too.
Come on. Yeah. And then he uses his soul as chains to pull each one of them in. I mean, Andy, come on. And then he intentionally lets only certain people through and trusts that his partner will make it work out on the other end. Like, no, I'm S+.
And it makes sense that he's stronger than Victor now because Victor was never able to use his soul in this way, and Fuuko was able to help him to use his soul this way. And he had 4 billion years of straight experience. He had more training than Victor had probably, because for all the billions of years Victor was lying around on a rock, how much was he getting better? He was spending billions of years.
He was sitting on the goddamn surface of the sun. Yeah,
Victor was spending billions of years not mastering his powers because he just had to wait for a reason to do so, for a way to do so. Whereas, Andy's been maxing out training for billions of years.
Just splitting his mind into compartments so that he can be there, sit there and in that pain and compartmentalize so that he's able to learn and change while he's doing it and be aware of how time is passing. Because the thing that this showed us is not only is he sitting on the surface of the sun, that he's actually had to maintain some sense of time and space and place because he comes down every 3 months. Yep. So that means dude can't just piece out of his brain. He actually has to stay somewhere within the pain.
Yep. No, it's some wild shit. This is so rad. Andy rules. I love how much impact Andy manages to have with so little screen time in the series.
It's because he's so wicked sick.
Truly the Shanks of Undead Unluck, if you think about it.
Ooh.
No, Victor's more the Shanks. Because Victor has insane impact while basically not existing for most of the series.
Yeah, but Victor isn't funny enough to be the Shanks. He's not got the lightness.
You're right. He's more of the Mihawk.
Yeah, I was just gonna say Victor is the Mihawk.
Kind of like that.
Yeah. Like, look at him killing it right now. God, you made him look so hot. Can we maybe put a little tiny spot of readiness on his hand on the empty hand side?
Yeah, I just got to finish adding this glow to blur the edges so that it doesn't look as awkward.
I'm loving it.
Double this. We'll get to it. Don't worry. I'm just figuring out how to do
Did we do all our things? Did we do all our people?
I think we do a
our favorite part. Our favorite moment.
And this is a moment that specifically speaks to you.
Yours might be the penis part.
No. Look, I find that bit hilarious. I laughed out loud. Straight up. I'm not a dick joke dude, you know? Like, normally people make a dick joke. I'm like, yeah, whatever.
I did minor character.
But my favorite minor character was because of the dick joke. Because honestly, if a dick joke makes me laugh out loud, that's a good dick joke.
That's an excellent dick joke.
Yeah, I got high bar. And usually, I'm not laughing at your average dick joke. Usually I'm like, yeah, well, fucking, I guess. You do you.
Do you have your spot? Do you know what your favorite spot is?
I've been thinking. I've been trying, man. I've been thinking. Look, Beast is green. Look at him. He's over there. Right? He's right up there.
Yeah, he's not like Luffy. I know my favorite moment.
Yeah? What's that?
Fuuko standing in front of all of the previous unlucks.
Yeah, okay. I really like that. Yeah, that's really good.
It changed everything. That changes everything. Is Clothy on the sun with Andy?
No, I don't think he came back. I think he died in Ragnarok. Let me think. I think I know what my favorite moment is, because it's about something that's stood out to you more than anything else, like that felt disproportionate.
Yeah. God
killing language before the game ended.
All right. That's a good one. That's a really good one. That
felt huge to me. That stood out in such a major way.
Yeah. I would agree. That's a really good one.
Okay. Do we have anything else we do, or are we just like ending?
What are we reading next to?
Yeah, what is our next section?
Choices on that. What's our next reading goal, guys?
Oh my god, the add glow layer's going so hard.
Oh, it is. 209 to 222.
Guys, y'all giving us small reading, huh?
And I don't mind it. I love it. Because y'all like to read to 223 to current live if you've been up to doing that.
Fair. We can read live for the very last bit. My big goal is I want during November to start Berserk. Why? Guys, they pay you more for ad revenue in November. I think if we're ever going to start small manga, it should be like January where the ad revenue goes down.
Holy shit, Drawk.
Yeah?
229 is the end.
229 is the end? Oh.
229 is the end, Drawk.
So I'll announce that we're doing a live read of the ending. I think it's fine. I think it's fun to not prep. How do you think about instead of this? Guys, what's a good end point to go into a live read? Because I think it'd be cool. Would you be up for to celebrate the end of this? Would you be okay doing a slightly longer stream where we talk about the section we read until, then we read the ending, then we talk about the ending?
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, I think
let's do that.
So guys, what's a good stopping point to do the first convo?
It's going to be 230 next week. So let's read to 228, then read 229 and 230 next week.
Okay. So,
out loud.
So we read to 228 for now, and then next week we'll read 229 and 230?
That's what I said.
Yeah. I was just double checking that I heard the numbers right.
Yeah, so we read to 228, and then we do 229 and 230 out loud.
Okay. Oh, this is great.
Why is everyone trying to make us read from 223 out loud?
That's a lot of chapters out loud. I mean, I don't mind it. I don't mind doing a longer stream, but that is like an hour of live reading, guys.
That shit's That shit's wild,
That's an
guys.
entire hour of live reading you're asking for. Is it worth an entire hour of streaming being
No,
us
I don't
reading?
think you understand how long an hour of reading is. It's worth. I like
yes.
that Humble. I like that Humble so tried to get it out so fast they ended up typing it's worth.
Okay, guys, how do you feel about making a bet with our chat where we agree to this, but on conditions, okay? Where everybody who's telling us this insane goal, if we deem that it wouldn't have been it wasn't worthwhile and we should have read further and done less live reading, you all owe us 1 sub each. How do we feel about this? You owe us 1 gifted sub.
I will give you subs, says Roxanne. Sure, that's fine. I don't care. That sounds good. All right, you weirdos. All right,
I guess we're doing a fucking hour. So we'll try to get through the actual convo in like an hour and a half. So then we can do the live read, I guess.
Brother Onion is like, you'll be banned permanently.
I'm not a perma-ban kind of guy. Don't get it twisted.
Ozzy is like, I'll do it now. I don't give a fuck.
And it's a bet. If you don't even have to, if you win the bet.
Shit, that's a lot of out loud read.
Oh my god, it is so much. Yeah, hey, at the very least,
that's 8 chapters of out loud reading. Ozzy just thanks for the sub, Ozzy.
Oh my god, you guys rock. Okay,
hilarious.
I gotta be real. This is my favorite art I've done for Undead Unluck so far.
Dutchy Lander.
Okay, do you agree with me that this is the best art I've done for Undead Unluck so far?
Yeah, I think it is. I think you just smashed this shit out loud. And remember when I asked you to do this and you were so uncool?
Uncooperative, and I was like, fuck that.
You were so uncooperative. I don't want to do that shit. I already did a picture of Undead before.
Immediately, someone did comment in chat, didn't you draw Burnt Ante last week? Last check.
And I say, I don't give a shit. I told you. This is such an epic moment. If I'm going to be really honest, I'm going to change my answer. Why didn't I think of this? I chose this because it was
it's the ones that feel uniquely like they cling to us. Not things that are
right. Okay, I stay with Fuuko. I stay with Fuuko. I stay with. Yeah. Here I am staying with Fuuko. Okay.
Oh man, this looks so cool. This looks
so fucking
sick. Yeah.
And then we are going to only read to 222, and then we're going to read out loud because the smushies are weirdos. And then, not apparently, they've shown their weirdo-ness. Like, there's nothing around it, dude.
We've learned, y'all weirdos.
You changed the color of that to red,
I always change the color to that. Don't worry.
All right.
If a picture has pink, I grab pink, but this one does not have any pink in it, so we're doing red.
Well. Oh, that's nice.
I always like to grab colors from the picture.
I was just thinking the same thing sitting. Burnt Andy is ironically so drippy.
Yeah, this dude looks cool as fuck. This is just a rad design.
It's so good.
Yeah, okay,
we're Undead Unluck fans. You know what, Razor Revenge? You just sounded like a TikTok thing. We're Undead Unluck fans. Of course we're weirdos. Our protagonist is naked half of the time.
Hey. He's not even a protagonist yet in part 2. Part 2, Fuuko's the champ. Fuuko's king.
Oh my god, I bought miso at the Japanese store. I'm gonna add some ramen and have miso ramen soup.
Like, I am blown away that I made something that looks this sick, honestly. Like, sometimes I finish something and I'm just reveling in, damn, I did this in like 3 hours. Y'all. All right.
No, you're baller.
All right, we're sending y'all
I can't believe we're gonna be starting.
I'm excited.
Frickin' Berserk.
I'm so excited for Berserk.
I'm so scared.
Okay, how do you feel about this for a schedule, okay? So that we start Berserk later. Next week, we finish on Undead Unluck. Week after, you can take Sunday off, and we'll do Saturday to do a One Piece theory jam with Kaito.
Okay.
Week after, Berserk.
Okay, when are we doing witches?
Either I mean, if you don't want to take that Sunday off, I'm going to just do 2 days, but that's a lot of streaming for you.
Also, you can't do the whole witches, like the whole time. I say we do some Berserk.
Yep.
And then after the first book, we take a quick witch break or something.
I mean, after the first book would be good, because I think we should try, and again, this is for a selfish reason, because of ad revenue, I think we should try to get mostly Berserk in November, December, and then half witches starting in January, where YouTube pays you less so we can focus on smaller stuff without there being any risk.
Well, then I'm gonna, with my witch people, I want to read less at a time then, so I can really sink in, because I'm not doing witch enough justice, because I'm doing 2 manga at the same time.
Super fair.
And I really want to lean into her more, because God, it's good. It's so good. Drawk, it's so good.
I'm excited, dude.
Drawk bought me book 6 and 7, and I have book 1 and 2. So now I need to get book 3, 4, 5. I want to collect the Witch Hat Atelier, because I've rarely seen such beautiful art in a book.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
I'm a happy cat. I love this one. This one is so beautiful.
This is my favorite Undead Unluck art I've done, for sure.
Remember when I asked you witches as in the manga witches, or witches as in the manga Witch Hat Atelier? I'm going to use this one as my background on something.
It deserves it, honestly. Who are we raiding, team?
Oak Tea, I'm really glad that you didn't show his genital area by making the background black, so I can put it on something.
Yeah. I mean, also, I gotta be honest, I don't like, as much as I like the joke, it feels weird to me that his dick hasn't burned off. Like, it would grow back, but like, motherfucker ain't got skin. Like, why is his hair there also? Doesn't that feel weird?
Rave's revenge is that makes one of us, mama. I just feel very uncomfortable.
I'm not allowed to draw dicks on Twitch, remember? They got rid of that. They tried to allow it, and then they got rid of it.
I'm just going to tell you that I can't put it on the background as something kids are going to see if it's got a floppy ass dick in the middle.
She's killing it. Her stream's been exploding lately. She went from me seeing her with like usually 20 watchers to now regularly being in the 80s. That's rad. Oak is killing it.
Good for her. She rocks.
Genuinely, I like raiding her so much, because like most people you raid and it's like, yeah, thank you, raiders. She does like a fun kazoo party about it.
Let me just say, Raze, you're so bad.
All right, everybody.
Hear me out. Do you think did you see that? Hear me out. Do you think he's uncut?
Jesus Christ. I mean, it would grow back, so yes. Hey, everybody. So until next time, and then you say I've been...
Yeah. I've been unhinged.
I've been unfiltered. And then, wait, I think we do those first. I keep forgetting. So we do those, and then I say, and until next time.
Do the beginning part.
I've been unfiltered.
And I've been unhinged.
And until next time.
Squish on, squishies.
It's been lovely talking to you. Okay, we did it. I'm so bad at remembering how to do this sign off. Why do we make it more complicated by everybody?
That wasn't me, man. That wasn't me. That was on you.
Was on me. I need to upload this because I really like this one.
It's so good. I love it.
It's so fucking sick. I don't know, man. I'm actually, this is the first time I've been glad there wasn't to delete your art, because like this kind of just cooked the whole way.
No, you killed this one.
Okay.